5 of week 8 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for you across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Hello and welcome everybody. Nice to be at your place wherever you may be, right around Australia or indeed the world, as we launch into, well, I was going to say the third last edition of Friday Night Motorsport for the term, but it's actually the fourth last because we're running 1 week behind on the Indycar series. The road to Indy, as everyone will know, we missed round 2 because of the global tech outage and meltdown, and I'll tell you what, we're still recovering from that, but we've got some magnificent tracks to get to in the final 4 weeks of the program here, including tonight. Round 7 takes us to Mugello in Italy, in the Tuscan region, and it's one of the new circuits on the iRacing service. One of those that are fast becoming our favourites, actually. We love this racetrack. Challenging at the best of times, but fast and flowing, and should set us up for a good night of racing. I'm Zach Caven, Joe Baldwin's here alongside me. You're watching the closing stages of qualifying ahead of a 65-minute race this evening, and let's have a look at the championship points as we venture into this round after finishing second last week, and let's not remind him of that too frequently. Adam Lavis is on 280 points, Aidan Luthwaite second on 253, well clear of anybody else. It's a race in two between Lavis and Luthwaite. Fred Kahn 169, Dave Oliver 166, Wayne Visser 164, Paul Wood 158, Chris Noble 157, Aaron Russell 147, Ashley 134, and David Baz 119. Now, we'll have a look at some information and details with regards to tonight's race for you. Here comes the track map, ladies and gentlemen. We want to remind you of where we're at and what we're up to. And this is the Mugello circuit in Italy. Server conditions perfect. Have a look at that. 28 degrees the ambient, 44 on track, partly cloudy conditions. Winds mostly in a norwesterly direction, and it's 1:09 in the afternoon. Their clock moving as quickly as it would in the real world, although it's about an hour ahead of where it would be if we were lining up track time to Eastern Standard Time. Of course, midday over there is 8 o'clock over here. It is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It is great to have you along. We've got an enormous amount of sport to sink our teeth into. Of course, the US Open tennis is on at the moment, the Paralympics, the AFLW is launched into life for the new season, and of course, we've got the penultimate round of the NRL regular season as well. But right here, our focus is IndyCar. 35 laps from Mugello, and Sam Chapman has taken pole position from Aidan Luthwaite, Chris Noble, Adam Lavis, Connor Nixon, Jackson Dial, Ashley, Brett Bradbury, Liam Haycock and Paul Wood make up the first 5 rows of the grid. What's interesting here is, as we have a look over the next page, the server is ticked over to 2 o'clock Central European summertime. And the 6th row of the grid is Matt Schmidtke, Jaden Green, Eduardo Zamora and Sam Stride from 7. Nick Fodiatis, good to see him on the grid, out of race control and onto the grid. See, he's a man of many different hats. A couple of weeks ago, he was in the commentary box. Then he moved to race control. Not content with either of those, he's now on the racetrack. Have a look at that. Lee Partridge is going to start alongside him on the 8th row of the grid. Dan Bardish and Greg Heady from the 9th row, Jamie Barker and Scott Jordanson from 10. From 11, it's going to be Cody Death and Jackson Ray Harner, then Fred Kahn and Wayne Visser. Kurt Normanson will make up the field, maybe David Baz, but we know that Tony Baker's already clocked off for the night. What's interesting here is that Cody Death set the pace in practice. We know that Jackson Ray Harner is no slouch behind the wheel of an IndyCar either, so we'll watch those boys fire into life tonight. It will be well worth checking around to see just how quickly and how promptly and how far they can push their way through the field. Joe Baldwin, good evening to you. Here we go again. It is night 5 of week 8, but as I say, we've got a bit of overtime and catch up to do with these guys because it is only week 7 for their championship, and a pivotal one at that, because after this round, drop rounds and everything else comes into the equation, so it'll be interesting to see how things stack up after tonight.
Yeah, certainly will. Good evening, Zach. Good evening, viewers. It's a fantastic track to get 20, I think we've got 25 cars sitting on the grid at the moment. I'm not sure if David Baz is going to join in the race. He's not on grid just yet. But
doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so we've got 25 guys here on a fantastic track. Mugello, it's one of those tracks. Doesn't matter what car you bring here, it's always puts on great racing. So it's going to be interesting tonight, especially when we got a Williams Esports signed driver in Cody Death. That's bit of a signature of his. He doesn't like qualifying, whether he's by choice or design, but he's a very, very, very fast guy. So hopefully he can keep it clean and show us his wares for the night on how well he's going. We've got our championship leader here. He's actually qualified in 4th. So very strong night for Adam Maverick to qualify up the front and put some good points in for his championship hopes.
Right. He didn't play his full hand in qualifying, Adam Lavis. That's a terrific qualifying run from him. He was outside the top 10 for much of the practice sessions, so didn't show his full hand. He still had plenty in the tank, plenty to give by the time qualifying came around. He is the championship leader for a reason. We, of course, note that there's a very long main straight here, and as Chris Stark has just noted, the draft down the main straight will be interesting to see who that favours and how that plays out. What will also be interesting is where strategy comes into it and where this competition caution will be as the night rolls on. So we're ready to rock and roll. Much bigger field on the grid than what we saw last week. The joys of going road course racing, one of the great permanent circuits of the world, more synonymous with MotoGP. Tonight it's about four-wheel action. We're racing in Italy. Round 7 of the championship is green. The run down the hill towards turn 1. Beautiful start from Sam Chapman, who converts on the outside. Connor Nixon makes light work of Chris Noble to go through into 3rd, but Noble's there on his inside to have a lunge into turn 3. Won't do it. He'll tuck back in behind. Noble, Dial, Lavis, Lear, Bradbury, the top 8 at the moment. And Tony Baker, David Baz confirmed as non-starters. Wayne Viz is the last in the running order. Scott Jordanson's lost out 3 spots early. Paul Wood lost out 4 and Jaden Green 3. So there's been a lot of toing and throwing, pushing and shoving early in the piece. And Nick Fodiatis is up to 11th. Fodiatis has made a blinder of a start. Up over the rides and down. Oh, no, more trouble.
Oh,
jeez,
that was
Liam Haycock. Haycock got it all crossed up, Joe, all checked up. Lucky not to take some company with him to the grass.
Oh, absolutely. He was one of the wild boys last week as well. He had a couple of incidents early, so we'll have a look at that. That was a bit of a wild dive from Liam. What's he done here? So he's...
I'm not sure
I think he's actually just outbraked himself a bit, and he's done really well actually to not make contact. So, yeah, great work.
Greg Heaney's on the tow rope. Dan Bardish, Jaden Green have also been involved in an incident. So, and that was, of course, what we saw for Liam Haycock. He lost 10 positions out of all of that. So let's keep watching this replay because there's going to be more carnage unfolding if we can, Joe.
Sorry,
because Jaden Green's on pit lane and Greg Heaney went there on the tow rope. So what's happened here, more to the point? He's gone for a gap. It's okay. Up and over and gone for Greg Heaney. And it just looks as though the brakes have not wanted to fire for Greg Heaney there. But that's as simple as it looks. I mean, everybody else was on the anchors, but Heaney was committed, and I think he missed the braking point, or the brakes have failed. We'll find out which is which. Scott Jordanson now also on pit road. Jaden Green's got back out there. Oh, drama off the start. And we'll be getting the Whiskey Business report from Greg Heaney a little bit later on tonight. Thankfully, he's got the likes of Jackson Dial and Aidan Luthwaite in this fight. They're a bit better placed than him at the moment.
And just a quick note is our club VP, Josh Winos. His 33rd birthday, I think, tonight. I think. But big happy birthday to Josh.
Indeed. A very big happy birthday from all of us here on the platforms of the GSRC. I did invite a few of us Queenslanders along. And I don't say that terribly proudly once October rolls around, Joe. But he did invite the Queensland contingent of GSRC members along tomorrow. Sadly, with conflicting work commitments and just the schedule not lining up terribly well, I won't be able to join the boys. But they're, of course, going out and taking on some hire carts and then heading off to a barbecue in which they'll attend virtually the GSRC AGM for 2024-5. So good luck to everybody with that tomorrow. And happy birthday to Josh.
4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. So we've got a channel in the gentlemen's Discord, so all paid up members are welcome to join in and cast their votes. Indeed,
and does I must address that a little bit later on in the evening with El Presidente. I'm assuming the hands up again to go around once more, Joe. I hope so, at least. 3 of 35 here at the Mugello circuit in Italy. So it's 35 laps all time certain, 1 hour and 5 minutes, whichever comes first, ladies and gentlemen. It's usually pretty well spot on with the lap counter. The only thing that would bring us undone would be a wayward caution, or whether, one lap too many under caution, whatever the case may be. But the numbering, the timing of it was perfect at Spa a few weeks ago. Up onto the main straight once more. Sam Chapman wants to lead from the front. Aidan Luthwaite happy to run in second at the moment. Connor Nixon is there at third. Chris Noble, Jackson Dial, Adam Lavis, the top 6. So Lavis has lost 2 spots off the start. Cody Deek up 11 spots. Nick Fodiatis up 6 spots. And they're coming down the main straight now. Deek makes light work of Fodiatis. Fodiatis just pulled to the outside and said, well, to the inside actually, and said to Deek, if you want it, you can have it. And Fodiatis slots back into 10th place right now. He's doing his usual. He'll run consistent. He'll aim high. He'll aim for a top 10 spot. At the moment, he's got his hands on that. Jackson Rayhana on his way through the field has got back up to 14th. Fred Kahn to 15th. But by gee, there's been some trouble early. Matt Schmidtke, of course, out of business. Jamie Barker, sorry, not out of business, but he's had an unscheduled pit stop. Down 10 spots. Jaden Green down 11. Greg Heaney back out there, but that was after a minute on the pit lane. Scott Jordanson's back out there, but that was after 2.5 minutes on the lane. And that's resulted in him being 1 lap down. But there is a competition caution a little bit later on tonight that will hopefully allow Scott to get back onto the lead lap and follow the train round from there. My phone's vibrating ridiculously at the moment, Joe, so notifications coming in left, right and centre. Of course, our friends with Brenton Hobson and co over at the Logitech Pro E-Series, they're running their Sandown 500 tonight, so that commentary, broadcast, chat threads lighting up a Christmas tree. Obviously, I've got people tuning into this broadcast as well, having a look at what's going on. But yes, already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars have visited the lane unschedulably, and therefore that's going to throw a spanner in the works with regards to their strategy. It's probably out the window. And Jamie Barker off the road already once more as well.
I think if you happen to go to the pits this early in the race, you've really got to, you might have sat down and worked out, well, the tyres are good for this many laps, or this and that, and with your fuel. You've got to completely re-engineer it on the fly, so they're going to have to recalculate their lap numbers. Hopefully they didn't change tyres, because you really wouldn't want to burn up a set of tyres this early in the race. And speaking of tyres, we've actually, looks like Brett Bradbury and Liam Haycock, the only 2 guys are on the alternate tyre at the moment, so the soft tyre. Everybody else is on primes, which the way I would run this race is I would double stint your primes, then run another stint with a fresh set of primes, and then that should leave you, I think, 2 sets to run fresh alternates for the last 2 stints. To give yourself the best possibility, get your eye in, get your timings right, put the alternate tyre on at the end of the race to extract the most amount of pace once you got the most amount of rubber laid down on the track. So there's actually quite close through here. We've got Brett Bradbury. He's really getting the hurry up here from Cody Deep at the moment, who's up 12 positions from his start. So yeah, he's certainly showing why he's got a 10,074 level I rating, people.
Oh, absolutely. Here he is, down the inside of Brett Bradbury and up into P8 for Cody Deeth. Fodiatis is fending off Zamora and Stride at the moment, and Stride's fending off Wood and Rayhana. Here they all come. Oh, trouble. Car off on the outside. That's Greg Heaney. That is Greg Heaney, but that's okay. I think I know what he's up to. He'll just be acknowledging blue flags and letting everybody roll on by unimpeded, taking the whack on the chin and going a lap down. He and Scott Jordanson now waiting for that competition caution, which won't fly in the first 10 minutes or the last 15, folks. We know that. That's usually the rules. We don't very often stray too far from the rules, of course.
One of the guys at the moment with everything to lose and nothing to gain, and he's playing a smart pace at the moment, is our old mate Adam Maverick. He doesn't need to battle hard now from this point forward. He's got a pretty good buffer, although Aidan Luthwaite's up there in second with a couple extra bring-ins in Connor Nixon and Cody Deeth, who are going to definitely play in. So he really, he needs to keep the pace up, but be mindful of the end of the race where Paul Wood, he's a bit of a rear gunner at the moment. His teammate, he's sitting back there in 13th. He's actually dropped 3 positions, but you've had the likes of Sam Stride and Cody that have come up through the field, and he's got Jackson Rahana right behind him now. But I'm sure Paul will get up the field as the race goes on. He's a bit of a quiet achiever, is Mr. Paul Wood, so I expect to see him up there in the top 6, top 8 by the end of the race.
Yep, and that's the thing. You play your cards right, and everybody's still in the mix once that competition caution gets thrown. You do need a little bit of luck after that. I mean, we were very lucky last week in St. Louis, so obviously let's rewind for those of you that are regulars here and for those that aren't as well. Last week, St. Louis, competition caution couldn't have fallen any better for everybody with regards to the way they were playing their strategy. It literally left everybody saving a little bit of fuel under the safety car, but one stopping it, all bar Greg Heaney, I think, to the checkered flag. Anyone that ran into trouble not counted in that, obviously. But yes, with regards to the competition caution, it doesn't always fall that conveniently. It does normally result in everybody having to adapt and change their strategy on the fly, on the hop, skip and jump, and can catch people out. And fuel saving's not as easy these days as it used to be in iRacing circles. They continue to reinvent the wheel to keep everybody on their toes. So whether or not fuel saving's a distinct possibility around a circuit as long and as fast as this, only time will tell. I haven't seen the numbers yet for tonight. I'm flying a little bit blind in that regard. But once we see someone like Adam Lavis come to pit lane, Joe, we'll know where our numbers are with regards to fuel stops. I'm anticipating 3 stops based on the fact that we're on lap 8 already. So if they can get round this lap and one more, it'll be 9, 18, 27, 36. It's usually tight with regards to fuel numbers. So if you're running to 9, great. But if you get a competition caution in the middle of a stick, all of a sudden you're 2 stopping at home rather than 1 stopping it, or 3 stopping at home rather than 2 stopping it. So that competition caution, because no one knows where it falls, that really reinvents the wheel.
It does. And you might sit, you want to work out your strategy, and you guarantee, well, I know when I was running the Indycar series, and I love running the Indycar, but I enjoy broadcasting it just as much, if not more. But you have it in your mind how you want to do it, and you guarantee you're like, okay, I'm going to pit in 1 lap, I'm nearly out of fuel, and bang, the yellow will get thrown. So you've got to also be aware when you get to pass that 15, 20-minute mark, you've got to be aware of how much fuel you got, because if you try and run it out, so yeah, oh, here we go, we got our first guys coming into the pits now.
So the end of lap 8. Now that's interesting. It's Chapman, it's Nixon, it's Noble, it's Lear, it's Deeth, it's Bradbury, it's Stride and Rahana all in. So too Zamora Khan and Haycock. So the bulk of the field has made its way in. Surprise, surprise. It's 3 Aussie racers that haven't. Lavis, Fodiatis and Wood. The Alpha boys are arguing over who's going to pit where. The Whiskey Business boys, Aidan Luthwaite and Jackson Dial, have continued on, as well has Wayne Visser. Sam Chapman now the first place of those 2 have stopped, but we know that there's more to come. And what's the strategy like for the likes of Schmidtke, Green, Partridge, Barker and Heaney from here on in? Now, what's also interesting, Joe, I said that 9, 18, 27 would get you home, but if you can get a 9th lap out of the tank, like Luthwaite, Dial, Lavis, Fodiatis and would look destined to do, then there's no reason those around them can't do the same thing. So they would go 8 and then 17, 26 and 35. You'd be running home on the smell of an oily rag on that 35th lap. Whereas these guys, they get to buy themselves a little bit in terms of leverage at the end of the night. So given that we've seen probably 60% of the field in pit lane last time by. We expect Luke Waite, Dial, Lavis, Fodiatis and Wood to follow this time by. This is what happened to Scott Jordanson.
Keep it off the wall, Scott. Keep it off the wall.
Did well.
Well done.
Very well.
Congratulations, Scott.
How good are the brakes on that thing? Jeez. Begging for mercy, no doubt. Greg Heaney and Scott Jordanson still up down now as well. Here come the rest of them. So all 6 that we expected to come to pit lane this time by have done so.
Now,
here comes Wayne Visser up, top of shot. You'll see him pop into the pit lane any tick. There he is, right there. Bang. Joe.
There is. What this does, it gives them flexibility with that extra lap. So it is a smart move. It'll just getting that extra lap, even if you lose a bit of pace early in the race. Once the safety car gets thrown, you can jump a couple of guys that might have gone a lap less than you. Now, if these guys can get 10 laps on the second stint, and the other guys are going to have to stop on 18 because they're only going to get 9, you get the lap 20. You've got 2 laps worth of fuel less than the other guys that you need to take if the safety car falls on lap 22 or 23. Like, I doubt it'll get thrown that late in the piece, but it's just a good way of opening up your strategy, getting that extra lap.
And also as well, we know how the random number generator works. There's not as much of a range in terms of laps to play with tonight as what there was last week. So it's a limited window. I mean, we've gone through the first 5 laps. It's the last 10 laps that won't. So it's somewhere between lap 6 and lap 25. Brett Bradbury under pressure here from Nick Fodiatis. The man usually responsible for that random lap generator. Tonight, that is at the discretion of the clerk of the course. Race control, Tim Orton. Here goes Fodiatis to the inside, Bradbury to the outside. Bradbury holding sway, but Fodiatis might be able to get the run up over the top. Through they go. He's patient for the moment, Nick, but that patience is about to run out because he's under pressure here from Jackson Rayhana coming up on his inside. Rayhana goes through. Rayhana to 10th. The charge towards the front continues for Jackson Rayhana. It's interesting because you look at Cody Death in 5th, you look at Jackson Rayhana in 10th. 2 seriously good pedallers. They've avoided trouble thus far. Rayhana will be looking forward to hopefully clearing these guys. Here comes Fodiatis. Here comes Rayhana. Bradbury's in trouble. Bradbury's absolutely got nowhere to go here because Rayhana had the overlap and got him up on the inside and covered it off. Bradbury gave racing room. Fodiatis still in there as well. Bradbury still hanging on. Hanging on.
I probably wouldn't. Brett probably hung on a little bit stronger, like a little bit too tight there. He should have just lifted and got in behind Jackson for that left. Oh, got a bit of contact here behind. Who was that? Was that Paul? I think Paul got up alongside his teammate Nick there and just got squeezed a little bit. Yeah. But Brett probably should have just a 10th of a second lift and ducked in behind because it did leave him vulnerable to Nick, but Nick didn't quite capitalise on it. Oh, Woodsy runs wide. He's got Khan on his outside. No, Khan couldn't make it stick.
Who has been an nemesis already this season for the Aussie Racers table. And now mixing it in. Oh, hang on. Nick's run wide now. So here goes Paul Wood down. He's inside. Can't look to go with him. This is going to get sketchy. Hold on, boys. My goodness, that was Eduardo Zamora looking for a gap that wasn't there. Eduardo, wow. Fred Kahn now alongside him. Here to pit lane comes Schmidtke. That's on pace, on par, because he was, of course, on pit road much earlier due to an incident earlier in the piece. And here goes Nick Fodiatis defending Fred Kahn. A buffer of support there for Paul Wood, who holds sway at diamond in 11th. And Liam Haycock's in the mix now as well, having got by Eduardo Zamora on the outside. It's all happening here. Sam Chapman, Aidan Luke Waite, the leaders. Connor Nixon and Chris Noble with Luke Waite at the moment. Chapman's lead is, wow, 4.3 seconds. Chapo's gone like a scalded cat tonight.
He's not hanging about. I tell you what, Nick was using his race brain then. In our rule set, if you come down down the main straight here at Mugello, you've got the white line there on the right-hand side for the pit exit. Now, under our rule set, some people like it, some people don't, but you can't go over that solid white line because that's what dictates the track limits. Nick held it right half, three-quarters of a car width there, which didn't allow Fred to get the overlap on him. Once that white line ends, then then Fred can pull out and get the overlap, but he just never quite had the. There's not enough there to got to get on the brakes. So Nick did really well to hold Fred Kahn off that time. So yeah, great racing by the boys. But Chapo has certainly shown a clean pair of heels tonight. He's 4.7 seconds. 4.8 seconds to make that back to Aidan Leithwaite, who's in this great battle with Connor Nixon at the moment. So good to see Connor putting his best foot forward. I'm sure he was probably none too pleased with his own performance in the Porsche last night. He made a bit of an error at turn 1 at Monza and got involved with a couple of guys. So I'm sure he was disappointed with that. But he's certainly showing some pace tonight here in the Indycar.
Indeed. Hope you're enjoying it, folks. Friday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, our last shit out for August. And then, of course, we get to the business end. Week 9 begins Monday night. Week 10 the following Monday night. We crown champions in most divisions and championships in that second week of September. The lead up to, Friday the 13th, which will be the penultimate round for these guys. And then we're back on Wednesday, September 18 for the Interclub Challenge, of course, for Super Formula Lights. We're very excited about that. And then Friday, September 20 for the Indycar finale. In the meantime, here's Fred Kahn all over the back of Nick Fodiatis like a cheap suit at the moment. Paul Wood has gapped them. It's Chapman and Leithwaite at the front. Nixon, Noble, Deeth, Lear in behind. Leith up 16 spots at the moment and only 7.6 seconds away from Chapman. So he will say goodbye once this yellow has been gone, come and went, because that's all he's really waiting for now to be reeled back into the competition. Let's have a look down the main straight. Fred Kahn with the run on Fodiatis.
He's on the wrong side, though, to make it realistic down at turn 1. But I think he's got the job
unless
done.
he can hang tough around the outside. Fodiatis forces the issue on the inside, forces Kahn to go the long way round. Hip and shoulder from Fodiatis. Hey, all's fair in love and war. Look at that. Oh no, Kahn's gone. Kahn gone.
Oh, no.
Oh wow. Liam Haycock got into Fred Kahn. They're both off the road. Eduardo Zamora, the winner in all of that. He's up 2 spots. Haycock and Kahn are off the road. And this all happened with Haycock getting into the back of Kahn. There they went. See you later. Oh, up and over. Liam Haycock with his second major accident tonight and his third in 7 days.
Awkward.
Haycock will be on the tow rope. There's no getting that back on its all fours. It's stuck on its lid. The only way to get off your lid is to get on the tow rope. So Liam Haycock's on pit road.
Jackson Dials here giving Adam Maverick a bit of a hurry up now. So this is for position 7. So yeah, Adam, oh geez, he's got to be playing the long game. He's saving fuel like we were saying before. So he'll be probably saving tyres, looking after it, just keeping the car straight. Don't battle until after the safety car. Knowing Adam like I do, I wouldn't mind betting that's probably in his game plan.
Yep.
And I agree, Starkey, that was probably a bit silly.
What was interesting now, not that we should be passing comments, we'll leave that to Tim Watson, but I agree. 21 laps to go, including the one we're on now. So this is where it gets interesting from a strategic standpoint. Because if we get the competition caution anywhere in this window, well, if we get it closer to that 18 marker, 17, 18, it's 2 stops home. 1 right during the safety car period and 1 after we go back green. But anywhere in this 15, 16 vicinity is going to make it very tight on fuel. So I wonder what that magic number is tonight. That random calculator generates so we'll punch, it'll probably be 6 and 24. It'll say anywhere between 6 and 24. That way we're avoiding the last 10 laps and the first 5 will be that number. Whatever that number is generated as, is where that yellow will be deployed. And it won't necessarily be deployed at the start of the lap. Normally, in most cases, every car will pass the control line, then it'll wave. So keep an eye out for that when it flies, ladies and gentlemen. 23.5 minutes gone, Friday Night Motorsport. Platforms and the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Whoa, here we go. Connor Nixon down on the inside of Aidan Luthwaite. Couldn't get the job done. Luthwaite holding on to second for dear life here, but in doing this, he's losing time to Sam Chapman. Chapo's out to a 6.5 second advantage, and the fight for second is on in earnest because creeping up behind Chris Noble is Cody Deeth. Deeth's right there now as well.
And
it's been good for Luthwaite, Joe. It's been really good, defensive driving from him to keep Nixon and Noble at bay, but it's done them no favours because Deeth is just reeling them in. Last time round, all those guys were 131.7, 131.6, 132.1 and 131.6, so Nixon on pace with Deeth, but Deeth's probably got a little bit more in the tank.
I'll tell you what though, just to put it into perspective, and I'm going to give a big clap on the back to Sam Chapman. You got a guy like Cody Deeth in the field, 10,000 iRacing, and he's going places in the sim racing world. You're going to know this kid's name in years to come. He's absolutely incredible. Sam Chapman's had a faster lap than Cody Deeth has. He's run up 131.33, and Deeth's fastest laps are 31.62. So outstanding pace from Chapo tonight. I don't know if he's done 100 laps of practice or what, it doesn't matter. The dude is on fire tonight. As we got Noble and Deeth
Noble and Deeth.
Pit lane.
Now that's interesting.
Early.
Are they reading race control's mind, or are they trying to beat the jump? But not the only ones. Ashley's in as well, so too Jackson Rayhana. So Rayhana, these guys are all on par with 8-lap runs from earlier, so maybe we're all of a sudden talking about a 4-stop race. We're starting to get to that point where I think we're talking about a 4-stop race rather than a 3. If they keep stopping 8 laps, it's 24, it's 32, and I don't think, Joe, even though the safety car does go out for 2 or 3 laps, I don't think you save 3 laps of fuel.
No way.
So it's interesting to see how this plays out from here. Back out onto the track they come.
So then where's Chapo? Chapo is...
now, also interesting, worth noting too, mate, Dan Bardish just parked up. He's out of the race. Scott Jordanson is hanging in there, but he may as well park up because he's been on pit road for 11 minutes. You're not making that time back. Liam Haycock's been there for 4.5 since he had to get on the tow rope. Chris Noble's come in. Oh, Noble, no. Oh, no. Hang on, Joe. Listen. Sam Stride, Alpha Racing Team, 47.03. Chris Noble, Alpha Racing Team, 47.95. And Jamie Barker, Project 36, 47.25. They've been done for stop and hold.
Oh.
They've been done on pit entry, those 3 actually.
No, again, 4th, wasn't he? I think he was on 4th.
I mean, Aidan Luthwaite's going to get another 9-lap run here. That's not surprising. Sam Chapman is on pit road, Connor Nixon as well, but Adam Lavis and Jackson Dyer continue on. They did the same thing earlier. What's interesting for mine is everyone's going to obviously come back to the train very shortly when this safety car is called, but they've done themselves no favours whatsoever because they're going to have extra traffic to work their way through. So disaster for Noble. I agree with Starkey's point that 6 seconds gets taken away. The field gets that back for free. But in Noble's case, particularly, he's giving himself more work for the rest of the night. Nixon was wide on the approach to turn 1 in behind Cody Deeth there. So Deeth has actually gained on pit road with the undercut on Connor Nixon. Up into 7th now is Deeth. Fodiatis, Chapman, the best of those that have stopped twice. The top 5 with the exception of Chapman and Nick Fodiatis yet to stop. Luthwaite, Maverick, of course, Adam Lavis, Jackson Dyer, Paul Wood and Nick Fodiatis. One thing I want to address too before we get any busier here, Joe, is that we apologise to all and sundry. You might have been asking questions last night. Where the bloody hell are those GSRC boys? We weren't able to get to air last night. Unfortunately, just We were a couple of producers down. Dan Correa became unavailable. No one was able to back it up and fill in his place. Of course, we wouldn't ask Joe or Adam to sacrifice their respective tilts at Porsche and LMP2 championships. So we apologise for the fact that we weren't able to get on air last night. We'll give you some results from last night, however. Before we got off air, just so we can dot the I's and cross the T's and fill in everybody on what's been going on. Pit lane activity, frantic and rampant once more as Luthwaite, Lavis, Dial, Wood and Fodiatis make their way in. Nick was heavy on the brakes coming into pit road as well.
Ooh,
yeah, 40 seconds is going to hurt a lot for Starkey. Chapman and Deeth have jumped Luthwaite. And Nixon. So Deeth has jumped both Luthwaite and Nixon. Good pick up, Joe. And Adam Lavis has come out in 6th spot, and he was side by side with Jackson Dial on his way there.
I got a funny feeling, right now, we all know Deeth, you don't get the 10,000 I rating without being a clever boy. Now, makes me wonder, because he had about a 3-second delta on Connor in one lap. Now, maybe, just maybe, he might have short-filled on his pit stop. And let me have a look at the time. You know, he still had a 7-second pit stop, so he's obviously maximised his in-lap, and his out-lap was obviously a cracker to get that much of a jump. So yeah, it's certainly a stunning drive from young Cody Deeth here at the moment. So Chapo will absolutely have his hands full with Cody after we have the random yellow. So
yeah, still none the wiser as to when that's going to be either, ladies and gentlemen. What we can tell you is that there's a good mix now out there of drivers that are running the primary tyre as opposed to drivers that are running the alternate rubber.
Read my mind.
Greg Heaney is still a lap down. Jamie Barker is, he's not too far off going 2 laps down, actually. He's in a bit of trouble. But Greg Heaney's still only a lap down. Liam Haycock's still on pit road. Scott Jordanson has parked up. So too has Dan Bartish. So they're done. And in the pit lane now comes Wayne Visser at the end of the 31st minute of play and the end of the 19th lap. Visser's on pit road. It's quite busy here. The Mugello circuit last night, of course, Will Italian flavoured a Thursday night motorsport as well with the Porsches from Monza. So Italian main course racing at the end of the week, which is good to see. And we've still got some good racing to come in the weeks ahead at some other exotic locations right around the world. We hope you'll come along for the ride and join us on the platforms of the GSRC. Jackson Dial right there behind Adam Lavis at the moment. Chapman, Deeth, Luthwaite, Nixon and Lear, the top 5 at the moment. This competition caution will throw the spanner in the works, I'm sure of it. What's interesting for mine, Joe, just from a strategic standpoint. There we go. There it is right there. There it is right there. Forget what I was going to say, because I was about to say Aidan Luthwaite got to 18 laps. Adam Lavis, Jackson Dial, Paul Wood, Nick Fodiatis all got to 18 laps, right? So they technically, right, this is where it gets interesting, right? This is where it gets interesting. There are some here that are looking at a 2-stop run home, even with this competition caution falling where it is. But maybe, just maybe, the likes of Luthwaite and Dial, Lavis, Wood and Fodiatis, who only stopped on lap 18, it's now only lap 21, they're only about to start the 3rd lap of their run. Maybe there's no merit in them. There's no merit in them pitting here, because I firmly believe that with the fuel they're going to save, they could probably pit as late as lap 28, get 10 laps out of this run, and then they've only got to get 7 out of the final tank for the run home.
Yeah,
they don't have to pit. Everybody else, however, Joe, they've got to have a serious discussion with themselves and have a think about it.
Yeah, Saki makes a good point. Visser's just pitted as well, so yeah, absolutely.
He should be good too.
Genius move. So he's probably better off on fuel than anybody else. And one stopper, pretty much everyone's only going to need the one stop to the end. But to do it, some of the guys are going to probably have to do it already.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how Cody Deeth gets home on only one more stop, considering he stopped on lap 16. That's 19 laps. And I mean,
He may.
that's only two. Yeah, he may. He may.
19 laps. I mean, if we get 3 laps
that would
under
be
the yellow,
a hell of a lot of fuel saving, though,
yeah,
Joe.
definitely, because they're getting 8, 9 at the most, depending on who it is. Adams probably could get 15. We know what he's like, but
that's true.
But
yeah.
no, it really is. This is going to be a bit of a ball banger, I think, trying to get your head around the strategy and the fuel burn. And I mean, they'll all be on the number 8, I think, so the fuel map for under safety car.
Yeah.
So they'll be saving maximum fuel.
And what tyre do you take at this point as well? That's another question.
Well, Aiden Luthwaite is on the alternate.
You know,
Mav's on the alternate. He stopped on lap 18, so he should nearly get home on one more stop. But the guys like Ashley stopped on 16, Connor and Sam Chapman on 17. Deeth was on 16, and I'm with you. I think Deeth's probably going to nearly have to make 2 stops. So,
and this couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, genius move for the guys.
Could not have come at a better time for Greg Heaney or Jamie Barker either, because they will now be able to get their lap back. They'll be back on the lead lap for the restart, provided that the procedures are adhered to and followed correctly through race control, and we don't have any issues like what we did at Gateway in Illinois last week. So, so Wayne Visser, Starkey's just telling us, he exited, then it went yellow, turn off car and roll around. That's no good. So just having a look, he's in 14th at the moment, but he stopped on lap 19, so he's good to the end.
Yes.
With one stop. He's in the same boat as all the guys that stopped on 18. He can come in once more and get home. There's a few others here. Let's keep an eye on who does to pit lane, who doesn't. Let's watch this. Chapman opts not to go.
Oh, who's going? Oh.
Yeah, Rayhana's going.
Woodsy, Bradbury, Nick.
Oh, now that's interesting. The fact that they're all, like, particularly Wood and Fodiatis. I'm really perplexed by that. I wouldn't have thought they'd need to go that soon.
Teammates, mate, they'll run together.
What do they know that we don't? It's a yellow, it's like 20. So 21 was the magic number, folks. It really came at the right time for those 2 Whiskey Business Racing entries that need to get their lap back. Greg Heaney will do that now. Sorry, 1 Risky Business. The other's Project 36, of course. Jamie Barker's getting his lap back now. Chapman, Deeth, Luthwaite, Nixon, Lear, Lavis. They all went on. Dial as well. Noble, Visser, Stride, Green, Partridge. This is going to be interesting. Oh, hang on. We've got a slow-moving car there as well. Coming down towards turn 1. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there for Jaden. Dropped down to 20th position. Don't tell me.
Has he turned it off and...
Can he not get it backfired? He stopped 3 times already. The last one was lap 17, and he's now on the tow rope. Jaden Green's night is probably done. Oh dear. That is not ideal. Starkey makes a good point. Primary for Chapman and Deeth. Again, this is just what our timing screen's telling us. Primary for Chapman and Deeth. Alternate for Luthwaite. Primary for Nixon and Lear. Alternate for Lavis and Dial. Primary for Noble, Visser, Stride and Partridge. Alternate for Wood, Rayhana, Fodiatis. Bradbury's on the primary. Khan on the alternate. Primary for Nominson. Alternate for Zamora and Schmidtke. Green, not that it matters, was on the primary. Heaney on the alternate. Barker on the primary. Haycock on the primary as well. Forget about Bardish and Jordanson, they're out of business. Haycock may as well be now as well.
Yeah, he's on the jacks. He
won't get classified beyond the 75%. And poor old Jaden Green, well, yeah, it's gone horribly wrong for him here tonight. Well, lap 21 was the magic number. We're on lap 22, so
I think we're going to go green.
Are actually out on the safety car, so it's only a 2-lap caution, which is interesting as well. Normally we either have 2 or 3 on a road course. Ovals are a little bit longer, of course, because shorter lap or shorter average speed or whatever. So yes, the lights are out on the safety car. We're going to go green again this time by. Now that will be just enough time for Heaney and Barker to make their way onto the back of the train. All 21 cars will be on the lead lap. I don't know what's going to happen to Jaden Green now that he's on the tow rope, how long he'll have to wait before he rejoins the race. Oh boy, Joe, that's shaking things up quite nicely. And there's 3 or 4 different strategies at play right here and now.
Yeah, definitely. Look, from Jackson, who do we have? From Paul Wood back.
Yeah.
Those guys, whilst they stopped, they really didn't lose a lot of positions. They were sort of in that mid-pack group anyway.
Yep.
So what it will do, whether they chuck the fresh tyre on and are going to run that through to the end of the race, or basically what it's going to do is it's going to minimise their time in the pits when they do stop. So they didn't quite have the track position. Like if you were Chapo or Deef, if you think that you can stop once and get home, there's no way you would have stopped out of the lead, because track position is king.
But let me say this. The fact that it was only a 2-lap caution does them no favours with fuel saving.
Absolutely.
Because that's one less lap. That may well be the difference here. Like loose weights and Dial, Lavis, Wood and Fodiatis would have been fine anyway, but Fodiatis and Wood still went to pit lane. Back to green we go! In Tuscany, at the Mugello circuit, race back on. Round 7 of the Indycar series. Everybody fans out across the main straight away on their run down towards turn number 1. Adam Lavis sitting in 6th at the moment. Under pressure from Jackson Dial, trying to get by Lear. Oh, the team! Chapman coming out of the wheels are banging! Chapman gathers it up and holds onto it, but Deep takes off. Here comes Luke Wett as well. Off goes Jackson Rayhana. Rayhana's had a moment. He's gone. Jackson and Paul Wood caught up in that. He got passed by his teammate Matt Schmidtke. Paul Wood slipping back to the pit lane. Jackson Rayhana has fallen down to 18th. Jaden Green still on pit lane as well. Let's have a look at this. Wood and Rayhana have been caught up in an incident. Oh no! Wood got into the... So Rayhana took evasive action. Wood got into the side of somebody else. Was it Lee Partridge?
Yeah, Lee Partridge. I've got Lee Partridge down there as having an incident, so get a better look at this with it. Yeah.
Oh, poor Woodsy.
Woody's got in the side of Partridge, and that's...
You don't normally see that from Woodsy.
No, absolutely not. No, he's one of the cleanest guys we've got in the club. So, yeah, absolutely unfortunate there for Partridge and for Jackson as well. That's really hurt Jackson for track position. Oh, these guys are up at...
That was Kurt Nommensen, I reckon, in there. Matt Schmidtke's just gone ahead of him. And Jackson Rayhana on the comeback trail behind him. Back across the start-finish line. Deep leads. Chapman second. Luke back down the inside. Aiden Luke Wade trying to get a second. Chapman wants to hang up around the outside and will do so. Luke Wade will force the issue there side by side on the end of on the run out of turn 1. Chapman back down the inside. Luke Wade still there. Luke Wade covers it off. Back down the inside. Look at this. Shades of what we saw a couple of weeks ago in GT3 and Porsche racing here. And Chapo. Wheels in the dirt, but still hung onto it. But slots back into third. Luke Wade up to second for Whiskey Business. 1 minute 30.636, fastest lap of the race for Sam Chapman. Look at them lining up behind him at the moment. Nixon and also Lear and Dial as well. Lavis has lost a spot as well in all of that to Jackson Dial. He slipped back to 7th, and Chris Noble's there as well. Oh, Dial and Lear. Banging wheels side by side. Dial up to 5th, Lear back to 6th, and Lavis 7th with pressure mounting from Chris Noble. In behind that is Sam Stride. Nick Fodiatis sits 10th at the moment. There's one stop left in this race for most people, but there's a cloud of uncertainty over a couple of others.
Aiden Luthwaite, he's really got to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak, with that alternate tyre now. Cody Deeth up ahead of him. And they're on the button, they're on the push to pass. It's lighting up green up and down the timing tower for us, as you can see there. When they turn green, that's how many they've used, and the fact that they're on the button. So guys are definitely willing to use their push to passes now, and Aiden will want to make the most of those alternate tyres to either hang on to or try and get a move done on Deeth while he's on the primes. Oh, big one for Lear. Oh no, what happened there?
Massive shot. Ash Lear in the wall, and that will be night done.
Oh,
Sam Stride also involved. He's on the tow rope as well. Oh dear. From the same stable. Ashley and Sam Stride. So, now was and Stride taking evasive action went to the other side. You just saw that he launched off the tyre wall. Right, let's have another look at that because I need to get a better look at Lear's moment because I don't think there was contact. I think it's just snapped on him.
They've both done exactly the same thing.
Yep, and they're both on the tow rope.
Yeah, Lear did the exact same thing as Stride. So he's come here, just a bit of thunderfoot. How lucky was Adam Maverick?
Yep. And Sam Stride's parked up. His night's done. He's taken it to pit lane on the tow rope and parked it. Ashley is limping his way back there, but that rules him out, I reckon, too, because 10 laps on one tank is going to be potentially a bridge too far. So Lear, it's a double blow to him. It's Lavis up to 6th now, and 2 Alpha Racing entries taken out of it. And Luthwaite, have a look at this. So Luthwaite's broken clear of Nixon, and all of a sudden the second of the Whiskey Business stable's right there hovering. Nixon's got by Chapman, and Luthwaite's going out after Cody Deek. And maybe just now, Cody Deek's awake to the fact that, hang on, I'm in a little bit of trouble here if I want to one-stop at home. This is lap 9, lap 10 I should say, of Deek's run. He cannot be far away from a pit stop, but if he can get there, we've got Tim Watson jumping in from race control. We've got Jaden Green jumping in to have a chat to us as well. We'll get to the boys in just a moment. But if Deep can get to the end of this lap, gone is the fuel save issue, provided that he can get 9 laps out of a full green run. Oh my goodness gracious me. All hell has broken loose, Tim Watson. Good evening to you.
Good evening, how are you?
Very well, mate. Captivating, compelling viewing this at the moment. What's it been like from race control, please?
It's actually been pretty quiet. There was a net code
That's
with...
why you're in here.
Yeah, that's it.
Get
There was a bit of a
lonely.
net... Yeah, that's it. There was a bit of a net code between Cody and Sam Chapman on the restart. And there was one on lap 1 with a couple of guys where... Can't remember who was it.
Here we go. Cody
Movement
gets
of the
pit
station,
lane.
boys.
And this is exactly what we spoke about. So he managed to get 10 laps out of that tank. He managed to save enough fuel to get himself to 10 laps, to therefore one stop at home.
Noble's joined him.
Noble on pit road as well, but he's only coming in as Cody Deep departs. And quickly, before any more hell breaks loose, pit lane's about to become very busy, boys. Jaden Green, good evening. What happened?
Bit of action in turn 1, lap 1 I should say, but I was pretty much clutching it with the engine off to save some fuel to make it to the critical lap because I was about half a lap short, and then everyone jumps on the anchors and engine didn't want to start again.
Oh no.
Oh,
yeah, summed up by night. Good fun in these things, but yeah, the auto clutch was off and it didn't want to turn back on, and no starter motor on these, so...
No, that's right. It's a tow job, and then when it's a tow job, it's retirement. Mate, that's really frustrating, really, because you had some good pace there. You were executing along quite nicely, but unfortunate that you weren't able to finish it off.
Yeah, well, I got up into 15th in the end, so I was getting myself back up there, luckily, and the safety car was going to help that, but yeah, it just wasn't to be, because, yeah, no starter motor.
Stay with me, mate. I'm going to come back to you shortly. I'm just keeping an eye. Chapman dives to pit lane. Nixon does as well. Critical lap for quite a few drivers here and now.
It's going to light up now, I think.
Oh, yeah. Everybody going on to lap 28. They're just minimising the fuel for the run home. But these guys would be running on fumes. Anyone that didn't stop under the safety car, they'd be looking at about now as the perfect time to jump in. Greg Heaney comes in now as well. Kurt Nommensen, Connor Nixon and Sam Chapman all on pit road. So maybe not as many as we anticipated. Deek is the one we've got to watch because he's the only one that we know that's in any sort of contention here that is 9 lapping this run home. 18 for Luthwaite and Dial, and Lavis as well. So this is lap 10 of their run. Fodiatis and Khan came in on lap 21. They can go a little bit longer.
And we've
This
got
is very important stuff. Joe Baldwin.
All but 4 or 5 cars are on the alternate now for the run home. So this is, once everyone settles into their pace here, this is going to be about it. So just whether or not some of these guys that pitted on lap 18, 19, like Luthwaite, Dial and Mav, if them guys have got another set of alternates to go through the end of the race, they're only going to have 5 or maybe 6 laps on those tyres, so they'll be able to tighten the bootstraps and get into it for those last few laps on fresh tyres.
Here comes Luthwaite. Luthwaite on pit lane. Who else follows?
Everyone.
They all do. This is the critical lap. Although Fred Kahn wants to go a lap longer. So does Ray Harner. Ray Harner can't necessarily afford to. He did dive in on lap 21, but he made a rod for his own back off the restart there, having to take evasive action with the incident between Paul Wood and Lee Partridge. That was probably the only one you've had to adjudicate on, really, Tim.
Pretty much, yes. It's all.
Oh, Mav had a bad
All went
getaway.
pretty quiet.
Oh, Jackson Dial has jumped Adam Lavis on pit road.
There is a few guys pretty close getting to that 21x.2
Jeez.
before we drive through.
Cody Dietz, 129.927, new fastest lap of the race. Noted Tim as well. And it's interesting too, if, I mean, incident point limit is one thing, and we know that incurs a penalty, but there's already been a few guys that haven't rehearsed their pit lane entry, and they've been stung for that too. And, oh, Nick Fodiatis is getting that right now. 47 seconds on pit lane for Nick.
Oh, Nick.
The one man that we didn't expect to see that from. The one that has for 5 years, Joe, sat in this booth and said, practice your pit entry. His own words have bitten him on the proverbial tonight.
We're probably lucky that we're not in the Aussie Races Discord right now. The 4-letter words will be smearing down everybody's ears. Viz sitting in 5th at the
that hurts
moment.
him. Down to 18th, and Viz is in 5th. So, but Viz is one of those that haven't yet stopped. So we're keeping an eye out for that. Viz, Paul Wood, all due on pit lane. So
going
to
around
Eduardo
again.
Zamora. They're going around again.
Wow.
So this will be lap 9 of their run. This will be lap 11 of Viz's run. Lap 11 of Viz's run. So Kahn, Rayhana, Schmidtke, Bradbury, Vizza, Zamora, Wood, all due to stop. Everybody else is on the run home. Deep, the effective leader. Sitting in 8th at the moment.
Just quietly, he's got a 3.9 second break. It's closing. About a 3.7 second break to Luthwaite, who's effectively second. Sam Chapman third. Nixon. Chris Noble. He's done really well after his little thing there before. So he's, unless he needs to stop again. No, he's stopped on lap 26. So that he's going to run tight on fuel to get home, but he should be able to do it. So, because Cody stopped on 26 as well, so it's going to be an interesting run home. And we've got Kurt Nommensen in the booth here with us as well.
Yeah, Kurt, talk us through what happened, mate.
When I exited the pit from under the safety car, I tried to change to the alternate tyre, but evidently when I left the pit lane, it reset back to primary. So when I pit then, it didn't change tyre compound, so I was going to be disqualified at the end of the race anyway from
Those,
tyre compound.
Those little 2%ers, they kill you every time, don't they? And that was Connor Nixon as well, as you know, Joe. Having a little bit of a sketchy run. Lee Partridge is now on the pit lane on the tow rope as well. So something's happened to Lee. He was showing us off track, but now he's on pit lane. And look at pit lane. So Deeth goes through, Luthwaite goes through, but Kahn, Schmidtke, Rayhana, Bradbury, Zamora, Wood, and also Viz on pit lane right here and now. The critical lap for these guys. Schmidtke departs. Rayhana departs. Kahn departs. Kahn the best placed at the moment in 8th place. Deeth leads Luthwaite. Chapman responds 129.819, but he's 5.7 seconds down on Luthwaite and 8 down on Deeth. Nixon's behind him, chasing him like the dog chasing the bone. Dial's there. Noble, Lavis, the top 7. So Lavis has dropped 3 spots on where he started, but critically and importantly, as far as the championship's concerned, He should still be leading it tonight, despite the fact that Aiden Luthwaite, who is 27 points down on him in the championship, is up in second place. So consistency is going to be the key, but also we don't know what drop rounds are going to do to this points table, Joe.
No, that's right. I mean, Adam's been very consistent over the course of the whole season. But Aiden Luthwaite, he's had a couple of rough runs, so it's just going to, after tonight, the drop rounds come into it, and it'll be interesting to see how many points get dropped after tonight. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So yeah, Visa got 42nd stuck. He would have sped into pit lane, unfortunately. So
he did.
He was having a great run.
We didn't quite catch that one.
Yeah, 47.3 seconds in pit lane. So yeah, unfortunate for Wayne. He's yeah, he's certainly no virgin there. He's he got the proverbial like a few of them.
So, all up to go. Hey, Jake, we go to you first. Kurt, I'm going to come back to you in a moment. And Tim, if anything happens in the next couple of minutes, we'll let you go and Jim can head up. But if not, stick around, we'll have a chat to you as well. Jake, impressions of the Indycar and this particular circuit, because if memory serves, it's the first time we've run the cars here.
I love the Indycar, I always have, but it's always been on a night where I haven't...
Hang on a sec, Jaden, coming back to your Schmidt King. What about that runner on the outside? Greg Heaney to go into the top 10. Schmidtke gets the Aussie Racers entry into the 10, joining Adam Lavis in the top 10 at the moment with a demon of a move on Greg Heaney. Go on, Jaden. Sorry, mate.
No, you're right. Yeah, I love the Indycars, I always have, but I don't get the chance to race them because of other commitments in some other oval cars, but yeah, no, it's a great combination. It's a really nice flowing track. I think everyone found that out when the Formula One raced here in 2020, that it's actually good for these type of cars.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm still disappointed that we didn't get a late edition or a patch update from EA Sports and Codemasters with regard to putting this circuit on the Formula One game. I reckon that would have been a great addition, especially now that red flags have been added to the game. Life would imitate art or art would imitate life from 2020. But yeah, that's disappointing, mate. Really disappointing. But in saying that, obviously we're not going to see you all the time here. But when's the next time we'll get to see you in the IndyCar?
I'm not sure about IndyCar. I heard there's an oval coming up in 2 weeks, which would be Indy, I believe.
Yeah, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which would be awesome. Yep.
So,
although there was still some discussion about maybe making the rescheduled grand finale and bringing the Red Bull ring forward a week, but I'm not sure how far they got on those discussions, just quietly.
Yeah, right. Well, if it's Indy, I'm going to hopefully make it, seeing what other commitments look like, but I enjoy these things around there. They're built for it. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
Something in the name, maybe.
Yeah.
Something in the name. What about the rest of your racing commitments, mate? What's the next week look like?
Supercars, and then away for a week. So, and then away for 3 weeks actually. So.
Correct. Tell us more about Project 36, please.
What's that? I don't know. Just a couple of us trying our hardest to make a name for ourselves, I guess.
Fair enough. Starkey's telling you that his rig's not available for rent when you're in Melbourne, by the way. If you're heading that direction.
Yes, I'm going to stand down, but that's in the off week anyway, so I shouldn't miss out on anything there.
And also, of course, we mentioned that because once upon a time, if memory serves, you were in Starkey's stable, were you not?
Yes, I was.
Yes,
so I'll be staying at his place this week.
Okay, so different teams now, but still good mates, obviously.
Oh, yeah, family. So makes it easy.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm glad there wasn't too much of a fallout there when you changed camps. Very nice.
Some subtle stubs here and there.
Oh, and so there should be, because that's what friendly banter and fire is all about. Stay with me, mate. Coming back to you in a moment. Cody Geese leading this by 1.3 to Aiden Luthwaite. So he's been able to withstand the pressure from the youngster from Whiskey Business. Luthwaite had a blinder of a run last week as well. Coming home in 5th place. Before that, Of course, second place at the Nürburgring.
Take your sleeping bag, Greeny.
And of course, when we're at Barcelona, Luthwaite got the win there. So, I mean, he's had some good runs throughout the course of this season as Aidan Luthwaite. He's continuing that run tonight with second here. Sam Chapman, Connor Nixon, Jackson Dahl, the top 5. Some big winners and losers right up through this field. Jackson Rayhana ruling what might have been after taking evasive action, but still up 14 spots. So too Fred Kahn, but Cody Deep up 20 spots, trumps all of them. White flag is in the air. We're on the run home, and we're well short of time as well. We could have probably been greedy and squeezed in a few more laps, but no, this is good. 35 laps to the checkered flag. This is the 35th and final. It's Cody Deep's night once more. Good to see, actually. I mean, whatever your opinion is of burning from the stern, some people like it, some people loathe it, but from an entertainment spectacle, the way this guy has worked his way back into this contest, what a magnificent performance from the rear of the grid tonight. Had the pace in qualifying, worked his way through the field on merit. Of course, you get a little bit of a free pass with the safety car, but he didn't necessarily need it. And right here and now, well done to Aidan Luthwaite, who's pushed him all the way in his final stint, I must say. But Cody Deeth, one of the best in the business at the moment in iRacing anywhere in the world, gracing the platforms, the GSRC with his presence, and finally heading for a race win. Tim Watson's back to race control. We'll hear from him after the fact. We look forward to hopefully having a chat with Cody Deeth as well. Here we go. Last turn, checkered flag. Cody Deeth makes it 7 winners in 7 weeks, 7 rounds of the Road to Indy series on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, and gets the job done at Mugello. Magnificent. So 7 races, 7 different winners. Nick Fodiatis gets his wish on a night that will leave him otherwise frustrated. But Cody Deeth joins the winners list, the ever-growing winners list in this series. Just Magnet Core, the Red Bull Ring, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to come. And there's every chance that we could have repeat winners all week, all season long on the platforms of the GSRC. Going around the grounds as the rest of the field make their way across the line to take the checkered flag. There was a photo finish there between Adam Lavis and Chris Noble. It went in favour of Lavis to the tune of 0.17 of a second. Some close finishes elsewhere, but in the end we had 18 cars get home. Lee Partridge still in pit lane. Will be classified because he got to 80% race distance. Kurt Nommensen just missed out at 27, but he disconnected from the server anyway, I do believe, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Sam Stride, unlucky, mate. You needed to get to 27, so you were about 0.04 of a lap short. Dan, bloody placement of your pit lane bunker. Sam Stride was a retirement. So did Jaden Green. We've been hearing from those two. Liam Haycock, Dan Bartish, and Scott Jordanson, and a bloke that we haven't heard from for a little bit. He's been a little bit quiet, but I think he's got a little bit to brag about. Tonight is Connor Nixon. He's joining us for a chat post-race as well, and looking forward to that. Post-race show coming up very shortly on the platforms of the GSRC. Winning margin was 1.31 seconds. Sam Chapman got the fastest lap of the race. Most positions gained also went to Cody Deeth, but credit to Ray Harder and Khan, who've moved up 14 apiece. They were the only ones in double digits. Wayne Visser gained 7 spots. 5 drivers copped a 40-second stop and hold tonight. That crucified them. 18 finishes in the end. 19, obviously, with Lee Partridge by default in pit lane. Great racing here on the platforms of the GSRC as per usual. Jackson Dahl made up the top 5. So Luthwaite second, Chapman, Nixon, Dahl, Lavis, Noble, Rayhana, Khan and Schmidtke the top 10. Aussie Racers, Whiskey Business, Summit, Alpha all represented in that top 10 and locked up as well. And Williams Esport at the very top of it. But Connor Nixon, I'm going to go to you first. I believe there's a team name change that needs to be applied here.
It's needed to be done for a while. I've told Adam about it, but Drop Bear Motorsports for gents.
Drop Bear in there as well. So what's that?
Yeah.
That's Aussie Racers, Whiskey, Summit, Alpha, Drop Bear
Motorsport.
Locked Up, and Williams. 7 different teams in the top 10. That says everything, Joe, about the variety and the diversity of the club at the moment. Many different teams and mega talent.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Connor, it's one thing I'll say, mate, over the course of the last 12 months, you were off doing other things and whatnot, but the speed that you generate now since you've come back to the club's been exceptional. I mean, I'm sure you had that bit of an incident in the Porsche last night, which you probably don't want to talk about, but yeah, we all have races like that, right? But
100%.
Yeah, but your pace overall, mate. I was watching some of the other V8 series and stuff abroad within Australasian Motorsport, mate. You picked your pace up, and your racecraft has certainly improved. You got to be happy with the way you've improved over the last 12 to 18 months, mate.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. There was a lot of ups and downs through that 18 months, but I feel like I'm at a very happy level now. I did, the big esports stuff with Logitech and all that, but, I've kind of came back and just do a bit of fun racing now. The teams are amazing. Drop Bear Motorsports, it's really calm, just really relaxed, so, it doesn't... I've got no stress on my shoulders at all, so yeah, no, it's good. It's good to come out and just sit in the Project 36 chat and just have a good yarn with Jaden and all that. So yeah, there's some good laughs. Laughing that he's turned off his car, then stalled it. So good laughs.
We've all been there. Does he keep hitting you up for hints and whatnot on your speed and your setup and that sort of stuff? 'Cause, I mean, he's fast enough as it is. You don't need to go giving him too many hints.
I've actually been giving him setups through the week for the supercar, so maybe I need to stop doing that. But yeah, he's actually made me a new paint for this week, so you'll see it on Monday. So yeah, it should be quite good actually. So yeah, Jane Green doing all the paints. So yeah,
very nice.
Very nice indeed. Hey, Connor, coming back to you in a moment. I just want to quickly finish off with the boys that parked up early. Jaden, that's a little bit disappointing, but since you are here, mates, give me your thoughts on Monday night and supercars getting towards the business end there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Red Bull Ring, never have been, but try to figure something out on the weekend, and hopefully we'll be able to lock the set in and I'll be able to find some pace around there. But yeah.
What is it specifically about the Red Bull Ring that you don't like?
I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of the fast and flowing tracks in the supercar. Like Indycars and stuff, it's not too bad, but in a supercar, I prefer the 90-degree left-right street circuit sort of racetracks, which is what they're probably built for more than anything.
Well, no doubt you'll be looking forward to the arrival of the Adelaide street circuit then.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. Even the bend will be different, but same deal, fast and flowing. But Adelaide, I'll be tearing that up in a Gen 3 supercar all the time, I reckon.
I look forward to them being added to the server because at the moment there's Buckley's chance of me going and visiting them in the real world. Those two venues. But that's okay. My silent war with certain members of the South Australian motorsport community will continue offline. Now, let's continue. Shut up, Connor. Jade, one more for you. Obviously, the change in teams here. I mean, good banter with you and Chris. We can talk about that all day if we want to. But what are you enjoying most about the change and the challenges that go with that?
Nothing's really changed, to be honest. It's all very much the same because Chris is in and out of Project 36. I still speak with the locked up boys, and yeah, it's pretty much the same. We've just got a bit more in depth with our setups and practicing as a team more than anything. Yep. So, if anything to make us faster is what we're doing, and it's in multiple types of cars.
Anything on the wish list for the big content drop and update next week?
Gen 3 supercars, but that's being hopeful.
Yeah, I think you got to wait a few more months for that one based on the little murmurs that I've been hearing. But all good, mate. Hey, bad luck tonight. That's really unlucky, considering that you were just trying to play the game like everybody else. But as you say, they're a tricky old beast once you stall them. There's no way out of that except to get on the tow road. How long would the hold time have been, and would there have been any point in getting back out there at all?
I had a 6.5 minute tow, so I was instantly out of there.
Jesus.
Yeah, I thought I got stiffed by that.
It was under caution, so it doubles.
Yeah.
Well, caution for one, but I mean, seriously, the whole point of a caution is to put them on the tow rope, and take them to safety. I mean, but you don't have to travel twice as slow. I mean, we're talking Suzuka speed there. That's ridiculous. Good old iRacing, still showing everybody its slight imperfections. It's fantastic. Just royally screwing you when you didn't need it, Jaden. Hey, bad luck, mate. Look forward to seeing you on Monday night. Even though you don't like the circuit, we wish you well and hope for a good result.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, boys.
I appreciate it, mate. Hey, Kurt, disappointing because obviously, I mean, you did well to avoid a little bit of argy-bargy that was happening earlier in the piece. It looked like you had some okay pace, but unfortunate that you weren't able to go on and finish the job.
Yeah, I was just sort of playing the fuel game rather than the outright pace game. I didn't have the pace overall, so I was trying to jump a lot of people by short fueling in that final pit stop, and then, yeah, just didn't get the tyre compound change, so... Well, it is what it is, and we'll just look forward towards next week.
Speaking of next week, Magny Core, thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely have to do a bit more practice than I did for this week, since I've lowered my racing load, and I won't have all the officials next week, so I'll be doing more laps in supercars, Indy cars, and GT cars ready for like next week and the final week.
We've got, just so that everybody knows at home, we've got Sam Chapman here. We've got Race Controls Tim Watson here. We've got Connor Nixon here. And we've also got the Whiskey Business Show lining up with Jackson Dahl, with Aidan Luthwaite and with Greg Heaney as well. So we'll get to those boys before too long.
Everyone needs a shot of whiskey.
Oh, mate, I could do more than one, and I had a skinful on the weekend, but... notable absentees include Adam Lavis and also Nick Fodiatis. Adam's reasoning is that he's up early for work tomorrow morning, so he'll be crunching the numbers most likely for us to give you updated championship standings and then buggering off. And I don't think Nick will be in a position to speak live on broadcast at this point after getting done in pit lane. And that's just a wild stab in the dark, Joe.
I'd need this one.
Yeah.
The beat button.
Oh, we shouldn't make fun.
And to be fair, it's very, very unusual to see Nick make a mistake like that. So we don't need to rub it in. He's probably out there kicking himself as it is.
He's just landed in the commentary box, Joe. He must have.
He was listening to the broadcast, so he knew.
Well, yeah, his ears must have been burning. Hello, Nick. Good evening. Get to you in just a moment, mate, because I want to talk to you about the pace of that car and how the result doesn't necessarily reflect that. But we were just talking about your rare, and we mean incredibly rare moment a few moments ago as well. Just as you jumped into the commentary box, it's almost as we said, it was like your ears were burning. But now, where were we? Sorry, I was with Kurt Normanson. Hey, Kurt, distinctly different track, Magny Core to Mugello next week. So that's one aspect to it. And secondly, it's a little, great. Shots of whiskey all around. Very nicely done, Greg Heaney. If only you could deliver Uber Eats style, it'd be fantastic. But the other thing as well is, one thing about Magny Core, and I'm sure Nick will comment on this in a few moments' time as well when we ask him about next week, is that it's a lot narrower racetrack as well. So you're going to have to keep your wits about you with regards to executing overtaking opportunities, in fact, creating overtaking opportunities as well. So it's going to be a nice challenge over 65 minutes for all and sundry next Friday night, mate.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully I'll have a bit better pace and not be... as much of a moving chicane as I was tonight, but no, definitely a different track and a lot more technical, and I think I do better on the technical tracks than I do on the open flowing tracks in the Indycar.
How does the weekend look in the meantime, mate?
I got GT Endurance tomorrow night with Mr. Gorange,
Yep.
and then that's after I work, and then I've just got Sunday off to more than likely just practice supercars. That's my main focus, is trying to get better pace so I can get away from all the incidents and not have as much bad luck.
We wish you well with that, and obviously just one of many different racing events going on outside of our servers across the course of the weekend. So go well, good luck. We'll catch up with you Monday night, mate.
Too easy, catch you then.
cast of thousands in here tonight for our post-race show on the platforms of the GSRC, ladies and gentlemen. It always gets wild and loose on a Friday night, doesn't it? Paul Woods joined the party, Jackson Rayhana too. We'll get to both of those guys in just a moment. Let me go in some sort of chronological order here with regards to time of arrival. Connor Nixon, let's finish with you. Joe mentioned last night in the Porsches, it wasn't on broadcast. You're probably breathing a sigh of relief, but I'm going to ask you about it anyway. What the hell's going on, please?
Yeah, well, I was sitting in with the resolution chat with Brooksy and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm trying to get around Adam Levis, and I'm used to a supercar when you go up on the brake pedal with the brake pressure, and I've went to 50%, moved up, hit 90, and front wheels locked. I went, oh bugger, this is not going to end well. The rear's lock, and I've became a rocket ship straight down to T1, took out 3 people, and got kicked from Brooksy's Discord, re-invited me later to play Grey Zone, and yeah, said sorry. So yeah, that was my night in the P Cup. Then yeah, last week was better than this week, that's for sure.
P for poo, as they say.
It was pretty wild on replay.
I don't doubt that.
I was a lot of let's just say the underwear needed to be changed after that one. And a lot of sorries.
Without doubt. Just for the benefit of everybody at home, now, I've got some breaking news coming through from Nick Fodiatis, and I'm going to get to him in just a moment. Connor, if you can stay with me just while I am mentioning the Porsches, though. First, Matty Dench. Is anyone surprised by that? I'm not sure. Second last night, I'm just scrolling down here, went the way of Aiden Luthwaite. So second again tonight as well. He's having a week of being the bridesmaid is Aiden. We'll get his thoughts on that very shortly. And scrolling a little bit further down, third went to Simon Mesamo last night for the 9.5 Sim Sport stable. So well done to him in the open split. Last night, first to our good mate trucker Joe Baldwin, second to Eduardo Zamora, and third went the way of Glenn Arnott. So we'll ask Trucker about that in a few moments' time. Of course, we apologise. We weren't able to get that on air last night. We are hoping that we'll be able to get at least the last 2 rounds of the season up and away for the Porsches, although I'm not here next Thursday night because I am off to watch the mighty Melbourne Storm, the minor premiers in the NRL, actually, take on the Brisbane Broncos. Nick Fodiatis, to you. Connor, stay with me, coming back to you. Right, Nick, good evening. Geez, there's some breaking news with regards to this calendar, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But in the meantime, it was all going so well for you until you got stung on pit lane.
Ah, look. When you have virtually 2 laps in practice and get into it because you're being relieved from race control, these things happen. So the Bailey Ladders car went into pit lane a little on the fast side, and yeah, screwed myself over on that one.
Unfortunate too, mate, because, well, look, there's a couple of things here, right? There's a couple of things here I want to have a chat with you about, because I noticed early on you had rocket ship pace with that thing. You were able to make your way through. I think you were up +5 at one point, pushing on the top 10, which is, you know, about where you like to be. And then that was before we got to the competition caution. So clearly you gelled with the car on the track early. 2,
yep.
Nice to see that you had a chance to go racing for a change. In fact, you're a man in many different hats. You were in the commentary box a couple of weeks ago, then in race control last week, then in the cockpit this week. Not sure where we're going to find you next week, but time will tell. And thirdly, it is a little bit frustrating in the sense that the competition caution fell at an awkward spot. We were surprised to see you and Woodsy head down pit road because our numbers were suggesting that you only needed to 1 stop it from there. And in the end, you decided to 2 stop it. So just talk us through that and the thinking.
Well, I mean, with the competition caution, it's a free pit stop, so you might as well take it, top up the car, because I just pitted. Might as well just top it back up and go again. And you'll gain a heap of track position to all the people that are...
Position?
I'm sorry?
It did cost you a little bit of track position, did it not?
Oh, maybe 2 spots at the most.
Yep.
But you got to remember there's a whole heap of people that stayed out as well. So just got to let it play out till the end of the race, and then you get all those back. So Yeah, I just fitted it. Maybe I could have stayed out, but it wasn't on my radar for that one because it made the last 2 stints shorter because I was going 9 laps a stint.
Yep.
And the front guys are going 8 laps a stint, so I had it in the bag in terms of laps 9, 18, 27, and 36. You're done.
Well, that's, yeah, exactly. We were punching the same numbers as you, mate. Once we saw pit stops unfolding on lap 8 and 9, well, I thought 9, 9, 9, 8 or 9, 8, 9, you know, etc. and so forth.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
different calculations were suggesting that there'd be 1 8-lap run and 3 9-lap runs in there. Wayne Visser got 11 out of 1 run, but 2 of those were safety car laps. He literally pitted just before the yellow was thrown. So in all of that, mate, I mean, you had good pace for limited practice, for limited notice. You clearly gelled with the car on the track well.
Oh, look, it's probably the car I drive the most. So the car wasn't the problem. I just had to get my eye in with the track. So I took most of the race, but that's all right. Regardless, as long as I had fun, a little bit sweaty because it is warm here in Brisbane today. But yeah, it was good fun.
It's Ralph Harris playground territory here in Brisbane this week, just for the benefit of everybody tuning in at home. Can I get away with that at this time of the night? Bugger it, I said it anyway.
Too late now.
Yeah, too late now. I mean, we're probably 7 minutes away from that sort of territory on the West Coast, but it's okay. We're good. But it's true. We're expecting 36 degrees tomorrow and 37 Sunday here in Ipswich, and it's the last day of winter tomorrow. That was a hairy moment, that one, on replay at the moment. Paul Wood on the outside. I'm trying to remember. I think it wasn't Eduardo Zamora. It was his teammate Liam Haycock in the lame sheet entry, and also one of the Whiskey Business boys, and that could have got ugly had Haycock lock wheels with you or Paul Wood at one point there, Nick. 3 wide down that short shoot towards the towards the final corner to bring you back to the start finish line. That was ugly.
Yeah, it was very ambitious through there. But look, it happened. And yeah, came out in front of that one a little bit on the dirt there. But yeah, it was one of those ones where you had to have eyes on the back of your head as well as the front of your head because there's all sorts of things going on because that straight is really long.
Great circuit this, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. As long as the car's got a little bit of wing, it's a fantastic circuit. I don't know what it'd be like in, say, like a Formula 4 to be really, really long, but anything with downforce, it goes well around here.
Formula V's go well around here. We've seen them on broadcast around here before. They go really well. Hey, some news regarding the calendar in just a moment, but firstly, let's talk about next week. Magny-Cours, distinctly different.
Yeah, we have raced there previously. It wasn't a broadcasted race, but it was still a good battle between, I think, myself, Adam, David Baz. There was a couple of other people in there. So just got to get a good run through the Estoril corner and then line it up for the hairpin at the end of the straight. It's really the only good passing spot.
65 minutes worth of racing coming up from Magny-Cours next week. Now, we had this discussion last week. I'm going to let you reveal what's going to happen with the final 2 rounds of the season, remembering that the Red Bull Ring is rescheduled.
Yeah, so rescheduled the Red Bull Ring for the 13th.
There you go.
Just looking here. And we're going to bump the Indianapolis finale to the following Friday. So
week 2
that'll be the 20th.
Week 2 goes where week 10 would normally be.
Would have been,
and week 10 becomes week 11. It's still a 10-round championship, but now we will actually finish with the traditional finishing point, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And
well, if someone didn't send something on the internet to screw it up for everybody else, we would have raced that night. But anyway.
Well, that's exactly right. I'm somewhat glad that we didn't because I couldn't have been in 2 places at once. So it's an extra round that I get to commentate, and I'm having great fun being back in the booth with IndyCar with you guys anyway. So, no, looking forward to it. So, yes, where you had Indy in your diary, bump that back 1 week and then slot in what should have been week 2 or round 2 into the week 10 slots, 13th of September and 20th of September. No extra racing time added to the Indianapolis round just because it is the finale. Normally we do talk about having a lengthened finale, or no?
TBA.
TBA.
Still You can have a chat about that and edit it.
Watch this space. Watch this space. If the clock gets up to 80, ladies and gentlemen, you know why. Or 90 or something in that vicinity. Because we will have extended coverage in Grand Final week. All of our other races are longer than usual. So looking forward to that immensely. Mate, I know you're on borrowed time tonight, so we do appreciate you sticking around and having a chat about that. Nice to see you back out there in your beloved Indycar.
4:30 start tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't envy that. The 6:30 one's bad enough at this end. But go well for the rest of the night and the weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Right, there he is, Nick Fodiatis. Righto, back to everybody else in the meantime. I just want to quickly cover off, because obviously there were two aspects to last night. One was the Porsches, the other was the Downforce Legends. Downforce Legends, ladies and gentlemen. Just having a look through here for some results. First place went to Cody Death. So, I mean, look at that. Much like Aidan Luthwaite. First one night, first the next, and second one night, second the next. So 2 back-to-back wins for Cody Death there. Very nicely done. The second place last night went the way of Matt Distill. Third to Adam Lavis. Fourth to the championship leader, Chris Noble. Championship points, LMP2, Chris Noble, 315. Matt Distill, 269, 248 for Adam Lavis and Lane Thorburn, also on 248. Guy Leach, 245. Porsche Cup, let's start with Open Cup, Open Split. Joe Baldwin, 391. Eduardo Zamora, 297. Oh, Trucker might have one hand on this. 288 for Barry Punter, so too Dale Atkins. Geez, it's on for second.
I get told
third.
I've got one hand on it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I can relate for some reason. 256 for Greg Heaney, 249 for Philip Butler, and 228 for Tim Watson, Tristan Koch, Brett Bradbury, David Christensen make up the top 10. And the Porsche Elite Cup at this point. Let's have a look here. Matt Dench. Again, colour me surprised. 72 points clear. 397 plays Sam Muir, 325. Ben Pedersen, 272. Jack Rogers, 255. We know that Jack's had some other commitments away from the sim rig in recent times, so he hasn't been a regular on the grid for a couple of weeks now, but still sitting fourth in the championship, which is extraordinary. Lawford and Snadden, 217 and 214 respectively. Trent Allen, Jake Jackson, Ryan Campbell, and Nick Wood make up the top 10. So that's your update from last night. As I say, hopefully Liam Banks and Daniel Correa start with you next Thursday night. I'll be back for the grand finale on Thursday, September 12. I just realised I'm meant to be calling a game of football tomorrow afternoon. Have I done any paperwork regarding it? No, not yet. That'll be after the broadcast tonight. Let's work our way around the room here. Connor Nixon's still here. I think everybody else is still in the house, which is good. Connor, to you.
Yeah,
I mean, there were a couple. Actually, there was a race involving you recently where I thought we won't see him afterwards, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. You might have had a shocker in the supercar or something. I'm not sure what it was, but I mean. Also a bit of a reality check last night with the Porsche, unfortunately. However, I mean, we all have bad nights. How do you put all that to one side to then focus on a night like this where you had a really good run, mate, to be honest? I mean, good luck catching Cody Death any day of the week. Aidan Luthwaite's fast becoming one of the benchmarks in this championship. Chapo was very impressive tonight. We look forward to hearing his thoughts on that in just a few moments. And then you in fourth, but by G, you had to withstand some pressure from Jackson Dole there in the closing stages.
Yeah, I'm not too used to this car. I haven't driven it for a good 2 years, so I just jumped in last minute because I've been doing a NASCAR championship, but I might be wrapping that up. So, thought I'd come race tonight. But, I had some really good pressure from, all night, really. I was battling, Luthwaite at the start, trying to get around him. Chris Noble as well. Then, Dale, like you said, then Chapman. So, we had a good battle at, I don't know what lap, but, there was 3 of us basically going side by side everywhere. So, it was pretty hectic, and it was good fun though. But you can't really bump doors as much as what I'm used to. So, you've got to be careful where you put those wheels, being an open wheeler.
Yes, we know. we know. We've already covered that off, Starkey. Don't worry about that. When I see Brooksy on Monday night, we'll tidy that up. Don't worry. But in saying that, well played, Starkey. In saying that too, mate. I'm just getting distracted. There's about 15 different things going on in this broadcast booth at the moment, the comments being one of them. It's how you respond to that, to those shockers that really reflect on how you operate as a steerer, and that was a good way to do it tonight. Are you happy with how the Indy cars are going when you jump behind the wheel of them?
Sorry for not covering your thought. Pretty much just move on. Like when you have a shocky, you've pretty much just got to move on. You can't really dwell on it. I used to dwell on it really badly. I'll go to the next point, but yeah, it was pretty much, just, I think when I was doing a lot of V8s, you know, I'd dwell on it and go, oh, I made this wrong, blah, blah, blah. But now it's kind of like, all right, well, I've done the best I can, move on, really.
I just want to cover off that comment from Nick there as well. We've already covered that. We covered that as Cody crossed the finish line. Don't worry, we've got you covered, mate. Thank you. And every chance that it'll be 10 from 10, the way things are going here. Connor, what's the weekend look like sim racing wise? And then how are we set up for week 9, mate?
So what do we got? Sunday's SRW, which should be fun unless it scops. So that I had a good round at Sandown last week, racing Rehan. So hopefully we do well there. That's at Oran Park. So yeah, got a really good setup lined up from the dock shop. Then we've got Monday gents. Then bugger knows what's in front of that, really. And heaps of studying.
Good to see you planning well ahead, well in advance, Connor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
About 72 hours if we're lucky.
Pretty much.
Hey, quickly, Magny-Cours next week in the Indycar. Thoughts on Magny-Cours?
I had a good round at Logitech there, so hopefully I can figure out where I'm going again. But yeah, no, it's a really hard track in the supercar, so I'm interested to see what it's like in an Indycar. It should be interesting. I'm good at stopping and starting in corners, so hopefully that gives me the upper advantage. Because I struggle at these fast-flowing tracks. I just find I lose too much speed through the corners. So especially at the start of the sector, I just lost so much time. So hopefully I can go a little bit better at Magny-Cours and get the Soul Beauty products, drop their IndyCar on.
Happy to report
top 3.
Happy to report that we had 5 Whiskey Business Racing entries on the grid tonight, and now we've got 80% of that complement in our broadcast booth to have a chat here in just a few moments. But before we get to them, we've still got to get the chat on Paul Wood as well. As I say, Whiskey Business Report, because we always save Greg Heaney till last, will be last cab off the rank here. Connor, with regards to Magny-Cours, the best advice I can give you is clockwise, okay?
I'll try to do my best there. Hopefully I don't miss the race like Monday. So that was the other thing that I did miss. So
it's funny though, because even though people say, most of those instances where it's a left-hand first corner, it's anti-clockwise, but Magny-Cours is actually one of those ones where the left-hander, but then it turns around back on itself. So it's actually a clockwise circuit, believe it or not. Right, so we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing what's ahead for you, mate. Go well, and as long as you keep the car pointing straight in the right direction next week, you'll be right when we get to France for the third last round of the season, and then the Red Bull Ring in Indianapolis and Indy. Oh, it's a lottery. We cannot wait for that. It's good to catch up, mate. Thanks for that.
Appreciate it. Hopefully it's the Indy 500. I don't want it to be small. Good track.
Well, mate, you might get 500 kilometres, but I'm not here for 3 hours that night.
Come on, Zach.
Because I'm over with the Logitech boys calling the 1,000 on the Sundays. So 500k, let alone 800k. It's whatever it is. It's going to be a warm up. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too, mate. Thanks, Joe and everyone. Appreciate it.
Too easy, Connor. Anytime.
Paul Wood, one incident that I got to cover off with you. Unfortunately, we had Jackson Rayhana in here, but he's shot through as well, so I don't get a chance to catch up with Jackson. But there was an incident with you involving Lee Partridge. Just talk us through it from your cockpit, your standpoint, please.
Went to try to make the move, thought it was on, and then Wayne Visser in front seemed to check up a little bit faster than I was expecting, caught me out, hit the brake a little bit too hard, locked it, and the rest is history.
So I was going to say it's something that I've been noticing in my gameplay, not on iRacing, but just on the PlayStation, getting checked up. There's nothing more frustrating than that. Nothing worse than being led astray from what you thought would be the predictable norm and realizing, oh, hang on, I'm in a bit of trouble here. I mean, I didn't get a chance to ask Tim Watson. I will ask him because he's here in the booth with us. What was the adjudication on that? Did Paul have an invoice to pay as a result of his involvement in that or not?
I didn't hear it get called in, so I haven't actually seen the incident.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I apologise, Paul, because I've just jobbed you in. That was not intentional. No, that was not intentional.
I did redress though.
Well, that's true too. And of course, Lee ended up on the tow rope, and Jackson Rayhana took evasive action. He managed in the end to get up through into 8th position despite that off-track skirmish as well. And that was fresh off the restart, which is usually when the trouble erupts in these IndyCar races, as we know. Woodsy, apart from that, not a bad run. 12th in the end. Your thoughts?
I was hoping for a much better result. I think I had the car and the pace to be at least the top 10. It was disappointing I had the incident. I think it kind of threw the race up in the air, but up until then it was relatively going to plan. The beginning I had a bit of trouble just with cars going here, there and everywhere. I was losing a few positions, so it didn't go as smoothly for the first sort of 5-6 laps as I would have liked, but eventually I got there, found my groove, and started to pull forward again, and then fuel strategy started to come into play again, and move forward. But yeah, it was just the restart there on the caution. It's one of those ones you look back now and go, all right, maybe I should have waited another couple of corners, but it was, there's cars everywhere going around. You sort of going. When I started the race, I was being a bit hesitant. I kept getting swallowed up by cars behind me, so I thought I can't afford to be too ginger on the restarter. I'm going to end up getting drowned again in losing positions. But unfortunately, it got even worse because I think I lost pretty much every position I had gained in the race up until then because, pulling over and doing the redress, I think it put me back to almost last place. So, had to fight back from there. But, once I got a bit of clear air, got me pace back again and got back in the groove. It was a good run to the end, and it would have been nice to have got a bit higher, but what do you do? It's let's see if we can improve in the next couple of rounds.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's so hard once all that hard work's been undone to salvage anything, but at least you got to the finish. There are a few that weren't so lucky tonight. The attrition rate was high. That moment earlier in the race, so two things here. That moment earlier in the race where you had both it was Liam Haycock and Fred Kahn trying to work their way through with you and Nick, 3 wide at one point, Haycock squeezing down the middle. Did you get a little bit on edge with that, or were you okay?
No, I saw it happening, and that's why I just went really deep into the corner because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I just hoped I'd left enough room, which I did, but there was a bit of touch and feel just before that, so I was like, oh, I'm not looking forward to this, but I had nowhere else to go because I was stuck on the outside and I couldn't pull out of it. So, but luckily it all come off in the end. But that was a very hairy moment, and I was watching it all happen in my mirror, and I'm like, oh, this could not end well here. So, luckily though, all went our way. So it'll be raced on and had some fun after that.
And obviously it was team strategy to come in during the competition caution, just top up the tank.
Look, I knew Adam stayed out, and as you know, he's the team strategist, and was hoping to be much closer behind him as per usual, but it hadn't gone to plan. So where I was, I thought, no, I'll go in and I'll top the car, which will give me a bit of extra fuel if I want some push to passes, and I knew then I could pick and choose when I wanted to actually do the stop. So depending on if I was on someone's backside, instead of being forced into a lap, I knew because I was back on full reach at that point, so it was just shorter stints. So I just thought, I'll go in there and take the hit now and see if it pays off the end. I think I got a couple of spots. Well, I would have by the end, but I would have had a bit more, I think, if I hadn't have had the little incident in the first lap. But overall, I don't think it was necessarily the wrong choice. I suppose you could look at it gave me an extra pit stop. But in hindsight, if I'd have stayed out, maybe wouldn't have had that restart incident and the result might have been much different. But yeah, it's one of those woulda, shoulda, couldas, and hindsight is always a beautiful thing.
Indeed it is. Before we get to Mr. Jordanson, Mr. Dahl, Mr. Heaney, we'll get to Mr. Chapman as well. But one more question for you, Woodsy. The next 7 days, what does it look like? And your thoughts on Magny-Core when we next have IndyCar on our platforms?
GT3, GT4s for me. Hopefully, I'm still wrangling with the Mustang, but I'm really struggling. That has not been a good season for me. GT4, the Porsche is going okay. I don't even know where we are next week, but hopefully I get a better result than I got this week.
Portimao, I believe.
Portimao for GT4 and both GT3?
Sorry, I'm thinking Porsches. For the... let me just bring the calendar up here. Woodsy, week 9 we'll be up to next week for the benefit of everybody at home. You guys are off to Interlagos in GT4 and Portimao for both GT3 and Porsches next week. So that's how it looks.
Portimao's always a good track. I enjoy that. So looking forward to that in the Mustang if I can just get it to want to stay on track and keep the rear tyres under it. But GT4s for me, that's going to be a difficult track. Don't always have the strong performance there at Interlagos, but again, we'll give it a crack and see how we go. The Porsche hopefully will handle the curves, but looking forward to the Indy. Had a good race there when we were there last in the Indy Magna Cores. It's a good little track. If I can keep the car straight, hopefully get a decent result and try and get the championship back on course, because I've missed a couple of rounds with the oval, so it's cost me my free round so far, so I need to maximise the points I can get in the final round. So, yeah, it's coming to crunch time. We'll see how we go.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Good to catch up. Well done tonight. Hard luck at the end, but at least, as we say, in a race full of attrition, you made it home. So go well for the weekend, and we'll see you next week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Quickly going around the grounds, because I've only been trying to do that for an hour as well. Before we go any further, Sydney getting the first bragging rights in the AFLW season, 50 to 35 point victors over Collingwood, and first blood drawn so far by West Coast over Richmond in the AFLW, 13 points to 3. The scoreline there at the moment, but that's only in the second quarter. That's underway. That's on the screens of 7 right now, 7 or 7, mate, depending upon your jurisdiction. NRL, Friday night footy, Panthers, Rabbitohs. Penrith, too good, running rampant there at the moment, but earlier tonight the Bulldogs went down to Manly, 34 points to 22, and currently Penrith over South Sydney, 28 to 12 with 9.5 to play. And of course, don't forget too, ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympics underway, 32 to 12 that should be. Paralympics underway from France, and that'll be continuing on Nine's Wide World of Sports as soon as the football's done. And going right through the night until breakfast. Very hard to get sleep at the moment with so much sport on. US Open from 1 a.m. as well. So we've lost Jackson Rayhana. We've also lost Aidan Luthwaite, but his spokesperson is still in the booth. In the meantime, Sam Chapman, good evening to you. Locked up on the podium, mate. But by gee, that car was hooked up tonight. You were on rails. That was a very fine performance from you. I mean, obviously, we knew that Cody Deeth was going to be hard to stop, and Aidan Luthwaite's form in IndyCar has been impressive of late as well. But nice to see you back on the grid in IndyCar and having a clean run, mate, onto the podium.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with the podium, and I was actually, looked like I was the fastest out there, really. So to get to that and be that consistent, I was really shocked. I haven't had too much time practicing or anything in it, and have had a particularly good performance in the car before. So, I was happy with that. I was just really disappointed that I got that damage from Cody when he went past. So, because otherwise, on pace, I was fighting with him, looking at those lap times towards the end there still. So, but very happy with third for a jump in.
Indeed. And obviously, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because normally when we see you fighting at the front and in the thick of it, it's Formula V, and we know that can usually go good and bad for you. But must have been nice to have a run tonight where it looked as though, for the most part, it was trouble-free. It helped that you built a little bit of a buffer there. You gave yourself some breathing space, but even then, off the restart, you didn't run into any sort of, SH1T, for the lack of better words. You obviously were switched on tonight. You were aware of your surroundings. Everybody raced cleanly and fairly in your vicinity, and you were able to hold on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did run into some because I got damaged from that incident, which is unfortunate. I was netcode, but, it's one of those ones where you probably just can't easily call it either way. And I just didn't have much pace after that until the pit stop, so I had to give up a few spots there, but was able to make at least a couple of them back. But yeah, no, largely kept it very clean, and I was just very surprised that we're able to do that. Also, I'm just starting an official race as we speak, and I've got people yapping in the comms, so we'll see how we go with that.
How good? How good? It was ruled as netcode, though.
Yeah, I had a look at the incident. It's one of those ones where I would probably argue he'd probably have hit me anyway, but it was certainly exacerbated by netcode, and it's probably one of those ones that if he did touch me where he did, it wouldn't have been a significant, probably wouldn't have been damaged, but because of netcode it was. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but we kept it on the road and were able to keep racing, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's just annoying timing for that safety car, really, because, I had about a 5-second gap before that. And I'd started sort of saving fuel in that second round. Once I realised that was a thing, because I didn't realise that there was fuel implications as well until they went an extra lap on me, and I went, oh, okay, maybe it's time to put it on 6 fuel map or something.
Yeah.
See where we get.
Yeah, learning the tricks of the trade as you go, Chubba. And I guess that's the other point as well. And Starkey highlighted it beautifully. The fact that you'd built that lead, it was all going to amount to nothing because everyone was going to get it back for free with that deployment of the competition caution. So that somewhat worked against you. But by gee, it was an impressive run the way you were able to lead from the front.
Yeah, no, it was. I was just on rails tonight. I fiddled around with the bars a little bit beforehand, but I didn't do, a huge amount of laps or anything. I jumped in about 20 minutes before into Pracky. But it was just, I think this car mixed with Mugello, just the long corners, the way that it sort of sticks, I could just fall into a really sort of rhythmic, sort of like Norris-like drive where it was just, one corner after the next and finding that really nice rhythm. And the tyres, actually, I thought the tyres were going to absolutely burn up, but even towards the end of that, second stint on the primary tyres, they actually felt fine, which was really surprising. But yeah, it was actually still quite good towards there. And then, once I was out on the alternates, I could set fastest lap, but they definitely fell off towards the end.
Indeed. Talk to me about your thoughts on maybe coming back and having another steer in this thing next week, Friday night, Magny Core. Anything getting in the way of that as far as the schedule's concerned?
Oh, I mean, often there's things that get in the way of me racing on a Friday, but we'll see how we go. It certainly hasn't been a favourite car before tonight, the Indycar, but after tonight and really finding my feet with it, it was a hell of a lot of fun. And actually created some really good racing, some real side-by-side classics, and everyone was pretty respectful in general. That was great with Connor. We had a great race there, and I think Aiden, we had quite a little side-by-side battle, so we'll see. I don't know if Magny Core will suit the same sort of skill set around those sort of long corners and that sort of thing, given, it is very much a stop and start sort of circuit versus Mugello. But if I can make it, I'll try and be here.
Would I be right in saying that the things that normally get in the way of you and racing on a Friday night aren't too far from whiskey?
I would say not too far from whiskey. No. They're usually, gin or beer related, I would say. It's usually at a place that would sell whiskey, so it's and that actually doesn't mix. I did a race last night after a sort of 2 p.m. session with going away party and made it home for the race, and it wasn't particularly pretty. So we'll try not to mix those two.
Not bad, not bad. Well done. Good to catch up as always, mate. Hey, we'll see you on the grid early next week, but hopefully also next Friday night as well. Go well for the weekend.
Thanks, Zach.
And at 10 minutes to 10 Eastern Standard Time, that's where we end the GSRC post-race show and commence the WBR post-race show, ladies and gentlemen, because it's all about whiskey business. To wrap things up, here come Jackson Dahl, here comes Scott Jordanson, here comes Greg Heaney. Start with the spokesperson for the team. Hello, Greg. Not a bad run from Aidan Luthwaite. Second last night in LMP2, second tonight in Indycar. Cody D, just on a different planet, really.
Yeah, most definitely. And also in the Porsches as well, Aidan got second in that one too, managed to take it up to Matty Dench for the whole thing. So well done to him there for sure. And yeah, for tonight, he was our strategist, and basically it's like, if you can keep your fuel at around this point, you'll be able to get this amount of laps out of it. And after the safety car dropped, he's like, all right, you got one more stop and then just send it.
And send it he did. Geez, yeah, it was an impressive run from Aidan. Started second, finished second. Chapo had the pole, of course, great pace from him tonight. I mean, Aidan was always going to be in the thick of it. To be able to have a clean run, to be able to bring it home in second, continues that consistent run that is required to win a championship, mate. He's still within striking distance of Adam Lavis. In fact, he may have even taken a couple of points out of that championship advantage. Oh, actually, hang on. Joe, breaking news. Adam Lavis has actually punched the numbers here, and because we've got 3 rounds to go, drop rounds come into the equation. Greg, here's the breaking news for you. Have a look at that. Whoa, here we go. So, coming into the night, Adam had the advantage, but that was before drop rounds came into the equation. Aidan Luthwaite, by virtue of that result tonight and how the drop round matrix works, Aidan Luthwaite leads his championship by 2 points. From Adam Lavis, Chris Noble well back, Paul Wood, Fred Kahn. That's spicy, actually. 10 points covers third and fifth. Dave Oliver, of course, at World Time Attack this weekend. Jackson Dahl's come up to 7th, a big mover tonight. Ashley, Wayne, Vizarra and Russell make up the top 10. And still, Jackson's got the pressure from those guys if they get back on the grid. Only 12 points covers that top, 4 places, 7th through 10th, and they're only 7 points away from Dave Oliver as well. So everything to play for with 3 rounds to go, Greg. That's a nice surprise for you guys to know that Aidan's. I mean, there have been moments where we've lost Aidan in terms of participation and other things when the championship has gone begging, but with 3 rounds to go, he's never been closer to a GSRC trophy and a middle place, middle step of the podium trophy at that. He's hitting his straps. He's coming on leaps and bounds.
Oh, for sure. I'm pretty much going to encourage him to make sure he's here every Friday to try and take this one up to the boys. It would be nice to have one of our guys up on the, as you say, on the middle step of the podium at the end of the season. So yeah, I mean, we'll get him as far into it as we can, and hopefully it sticks and he can hold off Adam. We all know how well Adam can drive, particularly around the fuel saving stuff. So, I mean, Aidan can do that. That's the thing. I mean, Aidan can do it pretty well as well. So it's just going to be a matter of making sure he stays out of trouble and doesn't end up on the B roll again. So I think that's him in the B roll from Silverstone on his lid.
Yeah, yes. That was turn 3. Just hooked a tyre with I think
one of the other boys, and
it just popped up, and there was no damage. The car just up and over.
Yeah, I think I outdid him tonight on lap 1. I turned myself into a rocket.
I was about to ask you about that, Greg, but before I do, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, already a race win this season, 2 seconds. Adam Lavis has had a race win, 7 different winners to start the season in IndyCar. By G, I mean, Adam's going to have to be bringing his A game over the next 3 weeks, and I guess Adam knows the ovals. It'll be interesting to see how Aidan handles Indianapolis when we get there. But Magny Core will also be the unknown with regards to the challenges that await there. Red Bull Ring, we know what racing's like around there. So much excitement to come.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So I think it's just going to be when we do get to Indy, if we've got hopefully we've got more than just a couple of cars on the grid, and we just have to try and work together to try and get Aiden as close to the front as we can.
Okay, so talk to me about your moment there, because that was lap 1, last corner. This very corner you're going through at the moment, you ended up a lap down on the tow rope in pit lane as a result of this. As you said, the car turned into a rocket ship. Did you miss the brake pedal?
No, it was a case of coming through that corner just before the S's, so where the long lap MotoGP section is. Cody Deeth managed to slot it in a few corners beforehand in front of me. I'm like, okay, fine. I know you're faster than me. I'll just tag onto the back. We came out of the S's on the back straight before the last corner, and there was a couple of slower cars coming out of there as well. I'm not entirely sure how or why they were slow. Cody went right, I went left, and by the time I got to the brake marker, it was already almost too late, and then it was too late, and I was then looking at the track from about 50 feet in the air.
And obviously a long recovery awaited from there, Greg, because you spent most of the next 2 stints a lap down, had to get that back under caution, and still somehow managed to come through to finish in 13th. So not a bad recovery considering how badly it started.
Yeah, I'm happy that I finished just out. I could have potentially finished 11th, but or maybe even 10th, but just couldn't quite hold off Matt, Woodsy, and Brett towards the end there, having pitted pretty much at the drop of the safety car. But as it dropped, I was rolling out of pit lane and then pitted with, I think I had about 8 laps to go. And then by the time I got to the end, the second to last lap, the tyres were cooked because I was pushing pretty hard for my pace to try and stay with Matt. Credit to Matt for the couple of laps we had through the first handful of corners side by side. So very respectful racing there. But yeah, no, unfortunately couldn't hold off the last couple of places at the last lap. So
indeed. Talk to me about. Oh, actually, no. Let's get the word from the men themselves. Actually, let's get Jackson and Scott in here. G'day, boys. Nice to have you on board. Scott, I'll start with you. Not a night to remember, unfortunately. Over pretty early in the piece.
He may or may not. I think he's actually posted saying he's here for the listening as opposed. Oh no, he's taking his mic off. I was going to say he didn't. I think he meant posted. He wasn't going to be here for chat. But we'll have a look.
I didn't see said comment. But if he's going to have a chat to us, hello Scott, are you there?
Mate, yeah. First, I just want to say.
Unlucky.
Oh, look, I'm not entirely in the frame of mood for it. I've started a new job after 17 years out of my mind isn't in the mood of it, so sorry. I apologise for being a quitter, but I had an incident. I think it was lap 2, maybe 3. The guy in front of me, no fault of his, well, I don't know, but he lost his front wing and slowed down considerably, and I just went up the backside of him. And it was a racing incident.
But yeah, it happens like that sometimes, doesn't it? It's unfortunate. In saying that, it's hard, isn't it? Because we heard from Nick earlier, not everyone can just jump in here at short notice when they've got a lot of other things going on. But clearly you're someone that, by the sense of what I'm gauging from your wording here, if you've got a lot on, it's very hard to juggle and get into the frame of mind required to just focus on the task at hand and put the time in to go racing, mate. So it's been a balancing act this week.
Summarised that very well. You're 100% correct.
So, all being fair and equal, once things settle down with a new job, hopefully a bit more time to practice and get yourself sorted and comfortable with Magny-Cours.
It's full on at the moment. It's mentally draining.
Oh dear. Hey, appreciate you being a good sport and jumping in here, mate. We'll let you continue to listen here. I want to talk to your teammate Jackson Dial. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. And Greg, before I bring Jackson in, you know what it's like. Everyone's got their own SH1T going on. Everyone's, juggling work and family and school in some cases and just life in general. This is not leisurely exercise for some. This is a time There's your moment on lap 1. There it is, up and over and into orbit. It's so difficult, isn't it, here and now in this day and age, to delicately balance the juggling act and find the time required to put the time in to net the reward and the results at the end of the week. Some people are lucky in the sense that they've got that time at their disposal. Others not so. But I mean, can we all just turn around and acknowledge the fact as well, Greg, that we're looking at the calendar and it says the 30th of August. Where the bloody hell's the time gone this season?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, yes, everybody's got things going on outside of the sim, and I mean, credit to everybody that shows up as often as they do, and particularly credit to my guys for making the effort to show up whenever it is at all possible. I know Jackson's got some exams coming up shortly, so thank you for him for showing up tonight, and well done on his efforts. And then obviously with Aiden and whatever he's got going on outside of the sim as well, he shows up whenever he can, and Scott as well, Fred and all the other guys that we've got. Yeah, credit to everybody for showing up when they are available to jump on. So, but yes, you are correct. It is taxing on this, depending on how much you want to put into it. I think I've been on actually every night this week, so I'm probably not going to show up for Mountain Men. But I'd get a rise out of you for that joke. But as you say, Scott, Zach, it can be taxing, but obviously life comes first. So yeah, with my guys, I haven't forced them to say, right, you've got to be on the sim tonight to do this. But I think for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be doing that with Aiden come Fridays. Yeah. And I mean, I can't comment because my life the last couple of weeks has been absolute chaos, and it's only going to continue to be so until the end of the football season locally. So I get it, just finding that time is not always an easy. Hey, well done to those that have everything in line and it goes smoothly each and every week and each and every day. Not all of us are as lucky as you, but we do envy you. But it's all smooth sailing, and some people, and I'm not one of them, because I reckon I've got some undiagnosed, unmedicated, untreated, unresolved ADHD going on. So some weeks are worse than others in terms of just being easily distracted and therefore very unproductive. But so I do always envy the guys that are more well structured and routined and trained than yours truly will ever be. Greg, let me get Jackson in here at the moment. Hey, Jacko, well done. Another top 5 finish, mate. It's going well. The last couple of weeks in the IndyCar, you've been really hooked up and on song.
Oh, mate, it's funny you get onto the conversation of being short on time lately, because I don't think I've touched the sim rig for at least 8 days at this point. My partner's car blew a motor 2 weeks ago. Got the sort of motor out. I swapped that in last weekend. Got it running in my afternoons this week, sharing one car. I've got final exams on Monday to be a qualified Sparky. So it's been shocker. I saw tonight's race one. Knew Aiden loves it, so we jumped in, had a crack with 10 practice laps, and yeah, it went well.
Jackson, can we just highlight that you said that you don't think you've touched it in 8 days, but it's only been 7 since we were last year racing IndyCar? Is that an indication as how hectic things have been and how quickly the week's gone then?
Yes, that would be true, because that was when I last touched it.
Right. Really? Now, Oh dear! If only there were 8 days in the week, I think we'd all be happy with that. Hey, listen. As long as 3 of them were dedicated to weekend, we'll take an extra day of the week, but make sure it's a weekend day. Hey, sum that up for me, mate, because up one spot on where you started at the expense of the former championship leader Adam Lavis, and I mean you were within striking distance of Connor Nixon, maybe 1 or 2 more laps.
Yeah, honestly, I thought I had him on the second last lap there, and I was just a bit too in my mirrors watching him up the inside, and he did brake a bit later than me, and it just spooked me off. I really didn't want to get hit on the second last lap and ruin what was a pretty clean race for me. All of my incident points were pretty much 1Xs at that point, just from me purposefully using the track. But yeah, I was really happy with it. It was clean racing all around with everyone, and yeah, it was a great night.
I apologise to trucker Joe Baldwin at this point in time because he's probably going to miss dinner and skip straight to dessert because it's heading towards 8:15 on the west coast.
That's right. I don't eat much now.
No. This is true. This is true. And I knew something was awry, Joe, because I hadn't had the wind me up in the earpiece yet, so I know we're okay. Hey, listen, Jackson, with regards to the next 2 weeks, mate, I mean, obviously, good luck with finals. Obviously, that is foremost, front and centre priority at this point. But when do you get a chance to ease the pressure from that, take the mind off, and then get back into the sim rig and hopefully finish the season on a high note?
Look, mate, I always try and jump in with the Porsche Cup. I started with it a couple of weeks ago, and my pace on it has been unreal, to be honest, considering I haven't had much luck with the GT3s on Mondays as of late. And then the Indy cars as well. Every Friday, you've got Aiden in the team chat, piping us up, sending DMs. It's Indian cars, according to him. So you'll probably see me on Friday next week. I might slip it in then, and then hopefully back to Porsche Cup and Indian cars the week after.
Very nicely done. And of course, only 2 weeks left till the end of the season, 3 weeks for IndyCar, and of course, anyone that's racing Super Formula Lights, they're back in week 11 as well for the Interclub Challenge. But ever so closer to the end of the season we are with the completion of night 5 of week 8. Hey, Jackson, if we do see you at Magny Core next week, what are your thoughts on that before I go to Trucker and have a chat about Monza?
Another track I haven't bought, honestly. I'm struggling quite a lot this season. There's been a lot of random tracks that I've never driven before. This is my first, 8 months of sim racing so far, so it's been a very expensive year for me and a lot of learning, which is the reason why I'm constantly skipping races, because of A, having to buy the track, and B, having to learn it on short notice.
It's interesting, though, that you say that. That's actually a really good point. Before I do go to Trucker, 8 months. It's a short time, but by gee, you've set everybody up and put them on notice, haven't you, at times? And there's still more there to learn and more there to grow. But I guess the pitfall of that is what you say about the amount of money you're donating to the iRacing cause at the moment and their current plans for their Christmas party of 2024, because every week it looks like you're either buying a new car or a new track, mate.
That's it, mate. But honestly, the whole point of getting the sim was to try and improve my in real life motorsport racing, doing sprints and time attack. And honestly, I can see a translation in my sprint days. And as everyone would know, it's so much cheaper than your real car. I've still spent less this year on iRacing than I have in the 4 sprint days I've done. So you really get your value for money. That's the whole thing.
100%. That puts it into comparison, doesn't it? And really, we're all about value for money here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Hey, mate, great to catch up with you. Well done again. And look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully everything settles down a little bit in your world between now and then, though.
Cheers, Zach. Cheers, Joe. Have a good one.
Thanks, mate.
Jackson Dahl. Hey, very nicely done. Just recapping, Cody Death, the winners tonight from Aidan Luthwaite, Sam Chapman, Connor Nixon, Jackson Dahl, then Adam Lavis, Chris Noble, Jackson Ray Harner, Fred Kahn, and Matt Schmidtke, the top 10. Greg Heaney's still here. Fred's been consistent. Up 14 spots, not bad.
Yeah, he's doing all right. He's had a few unfortunate incidents with ads, which I probably need to have a chat with Adam about. I think it's just there was one with a pit entry and then one at the end of last week, which I will have to have a chat with Adam about. I think it's just been an unfortunate timing. But yeah, so Fred being consistent, he was actually quite happy with his own results tonight and being actually finishing the race on the lead lap and not sitting in pit lane.
Yes, correct. And I mean, embroiled in a couple of heated battles throughout the course of the evening, but as you say, got to the end of the race and did so, in 9th place inside the top 10, followed Jackson Rayhana home. Rayhana, of course, had that off-track skirmish off the safety car restart. But yes, no, very good result for Fred tonight, and no doubt we'll be seeing him again on the grid on Monday night because we know he's a regular in GT3.
Yeah, unless work commitments are coming up, yes, we would expect that Fred should be on the grid on Monday.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Hey, good to catch up with you as per usual. And we will look forward to doing the same again on Monday night for the old Whiskey Business Report after GT3 from it's Portimao this week. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be should be a good race this weekend, or this coming Monday. So looking forward to it myself. I don't think I've actually put the Corvette around there yet, but we'll get some laps in over the weekend and see how we end up.
Indeed, we will, mate. Hey, very nicely done. Good to catch up as always. Thanks for that.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Joe, it would be remiss of me not to go back and revisit last night in the Porsches. And another good result for yourself in the Porsche Open Cup. But I believe the outright result has a few people talking. There might be a couple of raised eyebrows there. It might be a case of, hang on, Joe might need promotion.
Yeah, one of the things about Monza, it's an outlier. You don't have to be good to be fast to a certain degree because of the limited number of corners, and it is absolutely the temple of speed. And draft and being smart played a lot into my results last night. I made sure I didn't battle with anybody. I let the faster guys through, and then I had a lap. I can't think who it was. I was behind, but I was only 2.5 tenths off of Denchi's fastest lap for the night. So it was
not bad.
Yeah, I ended up was only 0.044% off, and the cutoff is about 1.8%, and it's jumped my overall speed up to like 1.92, which it's not where I'm at. It's just Monza, but yeah, Monza, I'm probably in a position now with a couple of average weeks, and I should still get that championship, which I should have had it a couple of seasons ago, but I just fell apart from pressure from my one and only teammate, Adam Maverick. He pushed me all the way that season, and I fell apart like an old Holden. It just wasn't cricket, but no, it seemed to be having a pretty good consistent run this season. So, but I'm going to have to watch the pace next week. But Algarve, great track. I love it. Race room, I did a lot of laps around there and at Algarve in race room, and it's a track I thoroughly enjoy. And you might remember last season we had that massive crash with a couple of guys coming down to the hairpin and speared across the grass and went headlong into the oncoming pack. So hopefully we don't have another repeat of the incident like that next week.
You never know. As you say, history has a nature of repeating itself, but we hope it doesn't in that instance. Very nicely done. Chapo's still here. Scott's still here. We'll have a chat to them off air. Joe, Mountain Men tomorrow night. And then all of a sudden, turn around twice, blink once, and we'll be talking about term 4. I mean, week 9 is going to be fantastic. I love the fact that we've got 2 open wheel nights dedicated to week 11, essentially, with the Interclub Challenge on the Wednesday night, the Indycar finale on the Friday night. A lot to be excited about there. We might talk about them in a bit more detail next Friday night, but before that, you've got Mountain Men. Then everybody's going to be keeping an eye on iRacing and the big patch update on Tuesday night.
Yeah, look, it's that Cadwell Park. I seen a video from iRacing today, and I can't wait to get there. I think the V's will be a car that'll just put on amazing racing around that place. It looks quite narrow, but very flowing for the most part, and then a tight little section leading to the start-finish line. But that's going to be a cracking racetrack for your small car, like probably your V's, your Formula Fords, your Skips, yeah, and probably even cars like the Mazdas and the AE86s. I don't know how it'll go with
and the V's,
big horsepower downforce cars, but the V's and that sort of stuff. I think it's going to be an amazing venue to put on some great racing.
Just quickly jumping in, update everybody. Paralympic Games at the moment, wheelchair basketball, the Spaniards all over the Aussies like a cheap suit right now, 54-32, and they've just started the final quarter of play there. So the Aussies need a fair bit of luck to turn that one around in the next couple of minutes, or otherwise they can probably kiss their hopes of advancing beyond the group stage goodbye, unfortunately. And let's have a look. Let's remind everybody, that's the updated schedule now. The Red Bull Ring will move into the week 10 or the round 10 slot, and everything else bumps up. So round 8 will now be Magny-Cours, round 9 will be Red Bull Ring, and sorry, I've muddled myself up there. Round 9 will be the Red Bull Ring on September 13. I know what I'm trying to say. Into that week, into what is currently reading as week 10, and week 10 is actually going to be week 11 for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Friday, September 20. So just slot the Red Bull Ring in between Magny-Cours and Indianapolis, and everything else remains as is. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. There it is, Mountain tomorrow night. Bathurst in the GT4s. They're getting a good run around there at the moment. And they're a good car too. 5 or so different manufacturers to choose from. 32 laps the journey, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Expect a time change to a couple of servers come term 4 because of that progressive and civilized concept known as daylight saving creeping back in once more. Hello, Joe. And it'll be as much of a nightmare for you, mate, as it will be for me. Don't worry about that. I've taken the liberty to take an extra week. I'm going down to Cessnock for a couple of events. I'm going a week earlier than planned purely because of the benefits of daylight saving. So I'll be looking forward to that. And it'll be nice to actually have dinner before the broadcast rather than at 11 o'clock in those weeks. Monday, week 9 gets underway. I can't believe I'm saying that already. September starts on Sunday, which brings me to another point which we'll cover off in just a few moments. But yes, Monday night. In fact, there's a couple of things to cover off here, Joe. Monday night, week 9 gets underway with Super 2 for merch.tgsrci.com, and that comes to you from the Red Bull Ring for 25 minutes. Then onto the Algarve circuit, Portimao, Portugal, 60 minutes there, and we're bringing you the Pro-Am split on Monday night for that. That's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Introductory Formula Tuesday night. Skip Barbers from Silverstone, 7:50, and then at 9:15 p.m. Road America. Road America Bend. Interesting. Road America, the venue. 6.5 kilometres of pure horsepower heaven for the Super Formula Lights, Wings and Slicks. That is a 60-minute race, and that is their penultimate outing of the season as they get ready to then go toe-to-toe with the Interclub Challenge in week 11.
Now,
Wednesday night.
I believe that
yes,
the Bend version it uses a corner. You see it on the outside as you go through the right-hand kink towards Canada corner. You come back, the next set of things there prior, there's a corner out onto the left. I'm pretty certain that the Bend incorporates that part of the track. So it's going to be something different for Road America.
Absolutely. Nice to have something different for a change. TCR, Tatani CR, have a look at that. From Virginia International Raceway, the Production Car Challenge, Wednesday night, 2 sprint races, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, followed by a trip to Interlagos for the GT4 sprint racing there, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, so that'll throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Thursday night, Liam Banks in the house with Daniel Correa-Sarr, fingers crossed, touch wood, hopefully, off to Interlagos for the LMP2s, 7:30 Eastern, that's a sprint round for them as well. On to the Algarve International Circuit for 60 minutes, Portimao for the Porsches. Thursday night, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Then here we go, 32 laps or 65 minutes, whichever comes first when we go to Magny-Cours. I'll be with Joe Baldwin for that one for you next Friday night on the platforms of the GSRC from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Merch.tgsrci.com. It's a little bit too late for Father's Day, but hey, the thought counts. To get something from the merch store and maybe get a start on your Christmas shopping, ladies and gentlemen. Get the stocking stuffers sorted. There's plenty of great things there that'll come in handy come summer, like bottle openers, stubby coolers, etc. and so forth. Probably at a point of the year where the hoodies and the hoodies are going to go back in the wardrobe for another 7 months. But especially up here in Queensland, my goodness, 37 tomorrow. It's ridiculous. So big thanks to that. Merch.tgsrci.com and race.tgsrci.com for more information and how to get involved with this magnificent club. We couldn't do this without the great support of the people scrolling across the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, and they include Orbic Australia, they include Lobsy Racing, M-Wave Australia, Flash Graphics, Sprite and Cider, Waste Options, and merch.tgsrci.com. I know we're almost out of time, Joe. Quickly, before we go, AGM tomorrow. One more point about that. Obviously, any changes to committee land, etc., we'll announce on Monday night. We'll let everybody know what's going on.
Yes,
but this is a big one tomorrow afternoon, and we're encouraging club members to come along and get involved.
Yeah, definitely. Please come along, get involved, have your vote, have your say. We have a couple of key roles that have been vacated for personal reasons. So that'll be announced tomorrow. A couple of guys will get voted in. We've got all the main stuff just about locked in. We didn't get as many main committee roles nominated for this year, but there's quite a few there that we need to go through and lock in for the general committee. So we need guys in there to vote with their feet and their fingers and put together the committee that will take us forward for the next 12 months. So we'll see you all 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is an AGM channel in the Discord, so all are welcome. We'll go through everything the club's been over the last 12 months and where we look to go in the future.
Indeed. And with 400 odd members now, that's a lot of bums on seats for that AGM.
Hopefully the channel's big enough.
Tomorrow afternoon. My thoughts exactly. And so, again, happy birthday to Josh as well. I know he's celebrating with the Queensland members tomorrow. I wish I could be there. Can't be in two places at once. The curses of no one mastering the cloning system yet, but I reckon there's a lot more things that we need to get in check before the cloning system is perfected. Don't worry about that. Good luck to everybody competing in Mountain Men tomorrow night. Good luck to our members racing elsewhere throughout the course of the weekend. Hope you enjoyed Friday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Round 7 of the Indycar Series. 7 different winners to start the season, the latest being Cody Death, Aidan Lutwaite, bridesmaid yet again, and Sam Chapman rounding out the podium here. Lutwaite leads the championship by 2 points. Yeah, you heard that correctly. With 3 rounds to go. A lot to play out throughout the course of the next 3 Friday nights. We look forward to your company for all of them and everything else we're bringing on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, throughout weeks 9 and 10 of Term 3 for 2024. Plenty of great sport on throughout the course of the weekend. Enjoy the Italian Formula 1 Grand Prix, MotoGP, of course, from Aragon. There's also, of course, Indycar from the Milwaukee Mile, NASCAR from Darlington, and that's just covering motorsport. I mean, the FIA World Endurance Championship's back this weekend. The Paralympics are on. The US Open Tennis is on, the AFLW, the NRL, you name it, it's happening this weekend. It's going to be absolutely bloody fantastic. And, of course, Australia play Argentina in the Rugby Championship as well. And the last one as we go, although Chapo's tapping at me at the moment. Are you trying to say something, Chapo? Are you trying to jump in here?
No, I'm just faffing around with another official and should probably mute my mic. Yeah.
I was thinking someone was trying to get my attention to say something. No. Last thing on the way out. Sunday, September 1. Happy Father's Day to all the great dads out there. And that includes my old man, Gregory. I'll be giving him a call on Sunday morning. Mum said to me yesterday, she said, don't worry, your dad never calls you because he doesn't know when you're bloody working. And I'm like, well, all he has to do is send me a text message and I can tell him. But that's, that's maybe a bit too far. The old boy going along strong at the moment. I'll go and wind him up just for the fun of it on Sunday morning. But no, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy birthday to anyone that's celebrating a birthday this weekend. Final day of winter tomorrow. Spring starts on Sunday. Good time to be alive. And then October rolls around and it becomes 1912/13 here in Queensland. It'll be fantastic. On behalf of the crew here, hope you enjoyed Friday Night Motorsport. On behalf of Joe Baldwin and all the crew here, I'm Zach Caven, wishing you a very good night and bidding you a very good weekend, everybody. Bye for now.